Well, first matchup should be a good one. These two are players that have been playing for quite a while here. So I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Are you streaming in Discord? You are. I just didn't hear the noise because I have streamer mode on, which I can disable because I am no longer streaming. Wait, no, I'm not. Now I am. Alright, it seems like people know what challenges the website they had to use in order to sign up to get here. I'm still missing, I think, another 7 people in my lobby.
Yep, a lot of.
I'll start. I'm gonna put you.
Well, it looks like they're ready for our round 1 stream matchup.
Alright, let's see. I'm
Also,
gonna get pop out going.
I think I'm echoing a little on your end, so.
I will move my mic a little bit. Is that any better?
Yeah, I think that's a lot better. I'm not echoing at all anymore. And Jfeather, wow, okay. I've been away for so long. I have missed the entire Jfeather Sun arc.
Oh yeah. I think he's playing most characters right now.
This is quite interesting here, and so far, both players taking one hit at the moment, but Jfeather just keeping his distance, making sure Don can't really approach, but with the basic, Don will find the hit and create a bit of a lead here.
It makes sense that Sun has to be the aggressor here. Red Hood has so comfortable at range, and Sun Priestess doesn't really get the same like diamond setups against a character with Red's move speed.
Yeah, and
so running.
Right now, Jfeather really on the back foot, like you were saying, and Red Hood from Dawn is just pushing forward, trying to find one last basic to close out this one, as the diamond indicators are a little wonky there, but Dawn not having too much trouble dodging them at this range, just constantly putting out the pressure. Forced to vanish though, now in a bit of a sticky situation, as the basic will come in, will find the hit for Jfeather, who immediately goes in, tries to find any sort of breakfast setup, and will actually catch Dawn with a wide on the exit here. Just needs one more hit to close it out, and does manage to trap Dawn. No vanish there, and Jfeather's the one who makes a 2-heart comeback in that card. We're already seeing this Sun really come into play here, and oh, my bad. I think I messed up game audio and I didn't notice because I wasn't looking at the chat.
I think I've confused people because I said the second half go to lobby 1 because the stream match was in the second half.
Oh.
So now, okay, we'll extend this round and find your matchup. People are Kiroko not. Kiroko is, I think, waiting in lobby 1.
There we go.
Okay, yeah, people are okay. We'll do this. I'll get the pings ready for next round.
Well, it looks like we're back on track here, and Jfeather and Dawn both at 1 heart. What? No, they were both at 2 hearts, but now Dawn at 1 heart, and a tough spot vanishes out of there, but that's that resource gone for another 10 seconds here, and Jfeather's keeping up the aggression, but that's the classic wide bonk on the Red Hood wide. It's a bit of a tough spot here, and the retreating basic from Dawn will close out that card. Early hit found by Jfeather, and Dawn
strange early hit, just not quite moving out of the breakfast combo around start.
Yeah, and also a little bit of a strange long range hit, not the type you see usually from the Red Hood, right? So both players kind of taking unfortunate hits here. And there as well, the pressure from Jfeather with the basic along with the drifting wides is enough to catch Don here, who is forced to vanish again. And Jfeather's really burning this cooldown very consistently from Don, who's being put under a lot of pressure. That's another hit while the vanish was down, but Jfeather does also get hit themselves, as well as now Don's in a little bit of trouble trying to find this hit as soon as possible, but just drifts right up into one of the diamonds, and Jfeather will take the first game of the best of 3. Not the most confident game I've seen Don play, but I'm confident that Don will be able to warm up, but right now kind of gets mixed up by the diamonds drifting. And that will be an early hit taken. Jfeather with the lead and trying to press it as far as possible, burning the vanish. An important resource gone from Don here, who is really in a tough spot as the diamonds come in yet again with no vanish cooldown at the moment. Taking another hit, Jfeather now with a massive lead, now pressing forward very confidently. Is fine with getting hit once or twice to try and find these hits, and Don will get caught on the tail end of the vanish. Once again with 1 heart remaining, Jfeather with 4, so much time to play with as the diamonds come in as well, and Don will not be able to get out that time. Jfeather with a significant lead, a card up in this potential final game of this round. Jfeather once again with the diamonds, playing this offense so well against Don in the early stages to keep the Hood away, and this Red Hood's having a really tough time approaching. These diamonds are pressuring so much, and the drifting wides are such a challenge at the moment for Don to get around. The diamonds once again forced to vanish out. And
diamonds just aren't quite enough. Both players at range are strong enough to get to min walls, and we'll see if some Priestess can get some combos together.
That's a basic hit. That's what Jfeather wants to avoid here, because now Don has a lead. It does not have to approach too much as the Dispel does come out. That's a long cooldown. Both defensive long cooldowns, but this time Jfeather will get in there with some melee setups, and we've seen Jfeather very confident with the lead, so I think if Jfeather manages to find a hit here, manages to force out the vanish, Jfeather is going to go on the aggression.
Because Red Hood couldn't find hits early. Just there's nowhere for her to run anymore. When some Priestess gets in, the wall is so close.
The diamonds are coming out again. Jfeather's biggest mission right now is to burn the vanish, and the vanish is burned. That's such a long cooldown now. Jfeather will be heading in shortly.
Ooh.
Yeah, right there.
Chases him through the hit invul. Oh, it doesn't get him with the diamonds.
But the wides are stacking up. The vanish will be burned in the corner.
Oh, that is, yeah.
And with that cooldown gone, now Don's in a lot of trouble here, because another wave of diamonds approaches, and as long as Jfeather does not get caught here, it's so much pressure running in, trying to find a setup, and will catch with the wide, and Jfeather takes it in a clean 2-0. Well played by Jfeather.
It looks like we have everything but 3 games reported. We are far ahead of schedule.
Yeah. Let me see if the replay thing works. I'm going to try pressing the button. Oh, it does. Oh, I'm happy about that. The audio isn't there, but I can fix that afterwards. Oh, and I also need to squish that replay thing a little bit too. It's a little bit too wide. But other than that...
Looks like we're waiting on, in your lobby, Hope It's Certain Penguin. Unsure if they are going into our game 3 here. Then Glitch and Carbon Chaos.
Yep, Penguin and Hobo are in my lobby, duking it out in battle at the moment, so we'll have to see how that progresses. And if you're asking what plugin that is, I think it's just called Replay Source. It's an OBS plugin. It has helped me a lot in the past, but it also takes up a lot of memory. A full stack of replays eats like 34 gigabytes of RAM, so not the most friendly to the hardware. Yeah, I'm interested to see how the second round progresses, because the first round of Swiss is always a little bit scuffed, but as the rounds progress, right, the matchups get closer, it gets more intense, and we're bound to see some heavy hitters do get out in the later rounds. It'll be pretty interesting to see what comes up in terms of matchups.
Yeah, we're gonna see that sort of Swiss filtering get us closer and closer games as the tourney goes on. Doesn't surprise me that we're starting with a lot of 2-0s, and by round 3, I think we're gonna see some way longer matches.
First round's almost over, and this Penguin Hope Dessert match is going the distance. Is it a Red Hood?
Is it? It looks like a Red Hood mirror, so I would definitely believe that. Actually, I have the chart here. Red Hood. Yeah, that is a red mirror.
That would explain
Alright.
it, but apparently, according to Max, Penguin switched to Sun, and now it's over, and Hobo Dessert has taken the victory 2-1.
Alright. Soon as Glitch vs. Carbon Chaos, it looks like a Storm Mirror in my lobby finishes up. And that's an entire round of Swiss happening in 10 to 12 minutes here.
Wow. Maybe we should
Right?
use this format more often.
Maybe we should do this more often.
Well, it looks like I'm looking forward
Yeah,
to what the matchups will be for round 2.
I suppose I could stream for you, but it's not like any of us are spectating, so we are all just watching the in-battle icon to see when it will change. Currently we have a our player stack got so tall that it couldn't fit anymore. Like, it just hit the top and bottom of the screen, so we started the second one.
Oh. Lobby 1, we need to start stacking. You can't let Lobby 2 beat us.
I don't think you have enough to compete. We have, what's 11 people here?
Yeah.
Oh no, we're getting deserters. They're starting their own stack on the other side. Wow, to be a fly in the wall in a Storm Mirror.
The storm movement sometimes makes it seem like they're the flies that aren't on the wall.
Volume mixer. Alright, so that was we did not assign the lobbies very well, and it still all worked out the first time. We're going to do better with the second time. Just make sure to read the message carefully. I'm pretty sure what I'm going to do is, if the streamed match falls within the first 7 matches, it's just going to be first 7 are in lobby 1, second 7 are in lobby 2. If the stream match falls within the second 7, I will have to ping those people and tell them directly to go to lobby 1, and then if you're not, 1 to 6 will be in lobby 1 and the rest will be in lobby 2. So if you were exactly the 7th match, make sure to double check whether it's first 6 or first 7.
This is an interesting round to try and pick a game from.
Alright.
There's so many good matchups.
I'll let you choose while I start to write out the call out.
Oh, this is so tough. I kind of want to see AxemJinx and Max, but kind of want to see Game Freak versus Kiroko as well. Maybe the second is for nefarious reasons.
Perhaps.
But maybe I should follow my heart.
Follow your heart.
Game Freak Kiroko.
Alright.
If the worst scenario happens, that's my bad. Also, forget what I was talking about with the flag stuff. Apparently, the country flag setup that I used to have doesn't work anymore. I must have broke it in the past 2 years somehow. Bit strange, but must have misplaced the folder or something.
Oh, my game actually crashed.
Oh no.
I will be restarting lobby 2 in just a moment here. I have not seen that before. No error message, nothing.
No error
just too many players. No error message. Just too many players in my lobby. Don't like it. Create lobby. It is back up. That was quick, but I'm so sorry, everybody. That's wild. Never seen that before. Alright, now I have.
Well, Game Freak versus Kiroko is our featured matchup of Swiss Round 2. Gonna be an interesting one. Both these players have taken breaks. Kiroko, of course, one of the more notable players that have taken many breaks extensively, but Game Freak's also been gone for a while, so it'll definitely be an interesting one to watch.
Let's see if all of the hours me and Kiroko have spent in this exact matchup will help her here.
Definitely gonna be an interesting one to watch, though, because this has been the matchup that has kind of defined a lot of the game's history. But right now, the wides are kind of going haywire. Game Freak, I think, very notable for saying that he doesn't really care about Stormwide, in I guess the sense that he's confident that he could dodge it, but already getting caught by it so far means a pretty good start for Kiroko.
It is, yeah. All wides in the game theoretically work under the principle that if you only stay within the angle, you move slow enough, you'll never get hit by it. But sometimes you get forced to move into that, and you have to react, and that's what Storm wants to be doing. Oh. Sometimes she gets you. Storm at mid-walls here, just not, yeah, Kiroko's just not finding the space to start setting up basics.
And it gets wide snipe too.
Oh no, the instant wide snipe.
Yeah, that's not what you want to see in this matchup, especially Lich with the lead, or even Lich at even heading into the late game makes it so difficult for Storm. And Game Freak has some of the most Storm experience in the game, has played against Kewpie in the finals of so many different tournaments, and is just fearless in front of the basic, returning a basic of their own.
Kiroko is good at forcing Lich off center. Believe me, I'm well aware, and Game Freak is just like comfortable not being on center in a way that I never have been.
Yeah, it's quite incredible. I was around for the early parts of Game Freak's career, at the very start of when Game Freak was playing the game, and that's like the biggest thing. Game just really likes to move around the field, and that naturally creates decent butterfly positioning just by itself. And that willingness to move, I think, is pretty unique among most of the Lich players. Oh, this is taking me down memory lane because that was like the main, that was the main commentary point. The Game Freak's willingness to move around.
Kiroko is meleeing, I think, much more than any other like currently active Stormbeast. I don't know if it's gonna work for her against the other player that is known for meleeing at very strange times. Maximum confidence.
Yeah, does find an uncharged basic here though.
Is getting the non-checkmate mix-ups the old school just put out pressure and see if like you guess wrong. It's getting hits, but it's not winning cards.
Oh, and a really good flower as well. Game got buying so much time and buying so much space here, and with another good basic against the charge, really decisive, but good evasive maneuvers by Kiroko to not get hit there.
The timing on the close to mid-range Lich basics is making it really hard to fully charge a Storm basic because you just get interrupted just almost every time. I know Kiroko hasn't quite picked up the tendency that Kewpie is, I've seen show of charging every basic possible at the max amount, but it's not exactly made easy, and that's it.
Yeah, well played to Game Freak 9, one of the greatest liches of the current day, and trying to become one of the greatest liches in history with that win.
I don't think you need to say one of for current day. I'm not good. You don't have to be nice to me.
Well, you're sitting in the call with me right now.
No, Game Freak is better than me right now. Obviously, I don't play. I played like a couple days and I've been busy with work. No, that's me, Game Freak. But, alright. That was pretty quick. Storm-based game being quick when both players are playing aggressive makes sense.
Yeah, and we're seeing a lot of other results come in too, including a weird report of a 1-0. I don't know what that one is.
Unsure. That one was in my lobby.
I think that was supposed to be 2-0. I think it was just misclicked.
I think no, they're still playing. I think the player reported the first game win and didn't realize that was reporting the match. It's fine. It'll work out.
Yeah, all good.
Worst case, I'm right here watching them and I can edit scores.
Oh, but sitting in my lobby here, Roxy and Glitch both saying stay, which I'm assuming this is going to a third game, maybe?
Oh boy. Yeah, feel free to like ask people to default to going back to character select even if they both stay, just so you might catch the tail end of games.
I might have been a little bit late on that one, unfortunately, but I'll definitely keep that in mind for future rounds.
Yeah. I mean, the good news is these are going fast, and if we're catching quick games, we're also getting really quick rounds. Oh, J-Feather Kewpie, I'm gonna have to... I have to spectate that in my lobby. Do you want me in the Discord stream and you could... That's terrible, that would be awful.
I got the max AxemJinx.
Alright, that's also pretty good, yeah.
Yep, and Max is currently up 1-0.
Yeah, already after the first round, we're seeing that the result reports are coming in a lot slower. Still a few that are, 2-0s in the first 5 minutes, but a bunch that are looking at game 3s or even just really slow first games.
Right, we'll have to see how this second game goes for Max and AxemJinx here. Oh, I heard the audio stop and I was so scared that
oh no,
it would have been a crash, but it wasn't. So we're all good.
That is good.
Well, it looks like AxemJinx is actually swapping to the worm here, I believe. Picked a different character first, but felt a little bit bad in the first game, I think, against Max's Arcanist. So Max staying on the Arcanist, taking an early hit, but Pretty confident on this pick, of course, a former Sun main, but switched to the Arcanist and is still doing quite well with it.
I have heard that the Worm is pretty comfortable in this matchup, but I do not have the context to know. Seems like they're both putting out pretty good, consistent pressure and occasionally forcing the other to move with their special, whether that be a Moon or a Laser.
Yeah, the lasers are really doing a lot of work for AxemJinx. Of course, the Moon causing movement, but the lasers are the ones who got the majority of the hits here, and a clock attempted from Max. A little defensive, maybe trying to catch Axem on the approach as well, as the Y does find the hit. Max looking for a comeback here, but needs to be careful. The Novi Fire will catch Max,
Doesn't
who
get out fast enough.
yeah, was too close, didn't have the clock cooldown, 4 seconds away. But does have it this time.
But it does... Novi Fire is one of the few moves that does make you invul to debuffs like that.
Yeah, and Novi Fire does come in though, 1.7 seconds away
Slower
from
cooldown.
that clock.
Or faster cooldown, and that'll make a difference here.
Tags
Taking the hit instead of taking the clock, arguably better.
Yeah, arguably better, but still gets tagged with the slow, and off the slow, Max finds 2 separate hits. That slow wasn't a clock slow, it was just the tail end, just catching a debuff, and Max gets so much value off of it.
Get out from under the moon fast enough.
Well, early hit in the favor of AxemJinx, who will want to try and rush in here, especially after that hit. Wants to use a Novi Fire if possible, but it's still going to be a little difficult.
Laser in the wide, the bread and butter.
We'll go for some more wides here, try to catch Max's movement, but gets caught by a wide themselves. AxemJinx now, 3 hearts. There's still a lot to work with, still a 1 heart lead here, but needs to be careful around the wides of Max, who is just pumping them out constantly. Oh!
Ooh!
Max gets out of there and gets the basic.
Sliver in the corner.
Yeah, not only surviving, but getting a hit too, and getting a hit there too, while the laser was coming out. Max now
Getting
at
the
a huge
basic
advantage.
timed.
And clocks Novi Fire, Max outplaying completely. And finally getting a basic. Wait, that was a basic with the Toxic, right? It checkmated on the bottom side.
Probably technically microable, but definitely not something I'd ever do.
Wow, just incredibly well played from Max in that end game.
Yeah. Alright. Looks like they are the last to report. You picked a good one to tune into.
Yep. 2-0 for Max. But still well fought from Axem. Had Max struggling at the early stages of the game, got a lot of early hits, and put on the pressure. Max did adapt right back though.
Round 3, and it's already... the choices are just getting harder. Still your call, but wow.
Oh, I think I'll have to go with the classic Rem Hourai.
Alright, fair enough. That makes my callouts easier.
I think round 4 or 5 might be a good time to highlight some newer players, but Rem Hourai, I mean, this is a match that I don't want to miss.
Alright. First 7 in lobby 1, second 7 in lobby 2. If you don't know offhand, I will ping everyone with the numbers of matches.
Can even drop a channel point prediction.
Oh boy.
I know the people love those.
29 to 35. We might go under 2 hours. No, it's way too early to say. No, we're actually completely on pace. We're 40 minutes after tourney start, and we've done 2 rounds. Match is. Match is. I cannot type tonight. Alright. No drops yet is really encouraging. I know some people are new and are taking some 2-0s, and I'm glad that they have faith that they're going to be looking at some closer games into the later rounds. And it looks like there already is some of those for our newer players.
Yeah. And This Rem Hourai match is about to start as well. Gonna head right into it. Gonna be an interesting one to watch.
Someone in lobby 2 says, "Let's make this quick. I want to see Rem v Hourai."
Rem versus Hourai, the two sons, are meeting here.
Boy.
As wow.
Wow. Wow. What do you even say?
It's like the same as I remember it. Both players just so comfortable.
They just both run in. They both breakfast combos, just orange on blue, and they both just get out through the lines on reflex.
This is one of the more beautiful mirrors in the game, both in color combination and also in gameplay.
Completely walled. That was actually really smart with the wides, stacking those up.
Yeah, and Rem with a big lead, but not getting too aggressive with it, getting caught with a wide on the movement there, but still keeping distance. Rem, I think, content to play this game pretty slowly, pretty safely.
Diamond chain ends without getting much done.
We'll have to see if Rem could get in there, trying to find a setup, but Hourai is the one who actually catches Rem with that drifting wide, and Hourai's bringing it back little by little, using the diamond speed to not get caught by the basic and continuing to evade, but at the last moment, not quite fast enough to get out of there, and Rem will take the first card. Early hit in the favor of Hourai though, 4 hearts to 3, as both players keeping their distance for the moment, but immediately converging to try and land a setup. Both of them get out of there. It's a game of decisiveness, but Hourai maybe a little bit too decisive. Actually runs into the lingering hitbox of a basic, unfortunately, and now it's 3 to 3. It's once again the corner being a very dangerous spot. The dispel will be burned and such a long cooldown, but both players
Both of them having to do it is they just switch places.
Oh, and that's the second time Hourai's run into the lingering hitbox, the very last frames of a basic. That's not what you like to see if you're a fan of Hourai here. She's at a bit of a deficit.
Yeah, the active frames on that are a good 500-600. I should know this, but I don't. The dispel, scared of the basic. Everything goes in, everything comes out.
Bit of a tough spot now. Both defensive specials not on the table here, but Hourai will equalize. Playing carefully around the basics now, not trying to get caught. Dodging the diamonds in the corner, will pop the dispel to get out and will not get caught on the exit by Rem, who is just controlling the center at the moment, trying to catch Hourai, push Hourai to a corner, and will do so, but Hourai almost gets out of there, but the basic will arrive fast enough.
It's so scary at these min walls, because if you ever concede center and you aren't just always fighting for it with the breakfast combos, you get pancaked immediately in a corner or a wall.
Yeah.
You have to have the bravery to just go in as soon as the hitbox despawns.
Once again, it's Hourai on the back foot, trying to find a way to get out of here, and that hit will be Hourai's ticket to try and find a setup. Almost a diamond found, but the dispel will defuse and a dispel right back as Hourai on the exit of the dispel.
Gets the slowdown hit.
That's exactly what you want to see. It's 1 card apiece now, as once again the walls have widened up as Hourai is being pushed back a little bit though, and that means Rem has a lot of room to play with. Rem still with so much space.
Diamonds, just dispel, yeah.
Yeah, just gets out of there. But on the exit of the setup, it will be Rem who is caught this time, and Hourai with a slight lead now. Rem trying to be a bit more aggressive here, trying to find some pressure, but actually gets caught by a drifting wide while trying to go in, and Rem caught by a diamond this time, and it is Hourai with a massive lead, going for a setup on the end of the dispel. Rem will get out of there, but Hourai is relentless, continuing, but drifts right into a wide, and that will be Rem with a bit of an opportunity. And all the way back, Rem has brought it. It's 1 heart to 1 now, but it will be Hourai who will close it out with the diamonds. An incredibly close game.
That's just game 1. Last card, last heart. While that next one loads up, I want to share a very funny message I got from Kiroko. She said, went 0-2 against Game Freak on stream and immediately went 2-0 in friendlies. Very sorry to tell her that there is not double or nothing rules in Swiss, but I do congratulate her on her extra games.
If they end up meeting in bracket in the far future,
oh, I hope so. I want to see that. I want to see
what
what she...
be interesting. But right now, it's Hourai off to a massive lead.
Some long-range exchanges going Hourai's direction, and now they're back on top of each other.
Yeah, Hourai looking for a bit more stability here, playing a little bit slowly and catching Rem. Well, Hourai, I think, played that endgame pretty well because just realized that there's no real need to be the aggressor when Rem is looking desperately for a hit, and just plays very defensively and eventually catches with the combination of basic and whites and diamonds. And we're off to another card, but it's round point for Hourai. And Hourai once again just getting the better of the exchanges in the center.
Just the daisy chain of overlapping basics.
Once again, looking quite good as trying to catch Rem out on the approach. And Rem's being a lot more cautious now, does not want to get caught, and will be Hourai who gets caught here. Rem trying to build back a little bit of a lead, but it'll still be very difficult as the Dispel does come out for Hourai.
Just chased by that diamond there, gets out though.
And as the basics come in, Hourai just cautiously playing at long range, not trying to bonk a wide, not trying to bonk, but is a little bit too cautious, and that basic will even up the game.
Stuck against the wall. Diamonds again. Can't recast.
Bit of a tough spot here as Hourai's looking for a bit of aggression, but the Dispel will create an opportunity, and the diamond setup is perfect from Rem. 1 heart left for Hourai here. It could be a final card to decide the second game, but not if Hourai can help it, with the diamonds getting out of there and trying to find a hit on Rem, but Rem will get the better basic and send us to a third card.
Oh, wow.
Once again, the diamonds.
It is mesmerizing watching both of these players go in and do the same actions and just have overlapping diamond dash in at the same time, breakfast combo at the same time, and run out.
Yeah, and Rem actually caught on the approach this time by a wide from Hourai, and caught another time by a wide while casting. And Hourai trying to take this lead all the way here, just drifting away from these basics, perfectly timed to not get caught at long range. And trying to go in now, has a Dispel, has the ability to try and find a setup here, pushing Rem into the corner with the diamonds as well, but Rem will get out, will find the gap. And now Rem on the aggression a little bit, trying to go in for a setup, will pop the Dispel, will look for it, but the basics aren't quite there, and Hourai will get out. And now Hourai in a great spot with the Dispel, with the setup onto Rem, and Rem won't be able to find their way out of that particular setup. The wides are converging, 1 heart remaining, Dispel burned, no resources left, but we'll get a hit on Hourai. But now Hourai does have that little bit of invuln to work with. We'll try to push in here. The diamond's a big threat. The Dispel an even bigger threat. The diamond's not quite catching it. Rem manages to get out of there.
The main wall's closing in. There's going to be nothing but melee exchanges left pretty soon.
And now Rem has to Dispel, but Hourai gets in the ring of diamonds. Does survive to get out of there and does not get caught.
Can she get back in?
Needs to get around these wides in particular, as Rem is playing very confidently in the center, but as Hourai sets up the Dispel, and now Rem's in a bit of trouble. Dispel is right back into diamonds. Will send us to a third game.
Hourai just circling around the entire arena, can't get back the space, and eventually she's boxed out.
2 incredibly close games here, and we're looking at a third.
Just right into it. Simultaneous diamond dashes from like opposite sides of the screen.
That's one of like the big things in this matchup, right? Both players going in or going out with those diamonds, just tapping them. And it happens so often that they're simultaneous, because the offense setups are also pretty simultaneous at times. And in this early game, Rem getting the first hit, but Pressuring the corner.
Rem following into the corner and gets stuck by the Dispel. It was a bait.
Yeah, overextension. Hourai finds the punish and does not have to cool down the Dispel.
Giving up center a lot. I wonder if she's just confident inviting melee exchanges closer to the wall. As long as she's not touching it, you're not actually going to get pancaked.
Right now, though, Hourai on the back foot gets caught by the breakfast setup on the exit
that's
there.
That's going to do it.
Rem now with the lead in this set, in this round overall, and yeah, I get what you were saying. Hourai spending a lot of her time on the edges of the screen, giving up center quite a bit to try and get a little more comfortable, but I think that's leading to a lot more offense coming out from Rem.
I think what she's trying to do with sometimes more success than others is slowly approach and build up wides at each stage. But Rem is just not really letting it happen and always has that Dispel for when a scary wave of diamonds come out.
Yeah, diamond dashing right out as Hourai not trying to get caught by the slowdown on the Dispel as Rem now pushing forward, but Hourai once again just slowly approaching away from the wall, will find the hit on an approaching Rem and will Dispel out of all the pressure there. The decision making in this mirror has to be so decisive. Any slowdown, any breakfast setup needs to be escaped with precision, and this time it is Hourai who catches Rem approaching once again. 1 heart left on Rem, and Hourai could send us to a final card. Once again, it is Hourai content to stand near the wall here and will exit with the diamonds, catching Rem off guard.
Last game, last card.
Yeah, incredibly close. And this is the last game in this round. This is the longest lasting game in the round, unsurprisingly. This is the only one left, and it all comes down to this. The slowdown utilized, but Rem gets out of there, identifies the gaps in the diamonds, and we'll have a lot of trouble getting around these wides as Hourai tries to go in. But it's actually Hourai trying to get through the diamonds, backing up into the basic, and Rem will take the first hit. But it's evened right back up here. 3-3, but a hit on an approaching Hourai. 2 hearts remaining as this game is reaching its conclusion. Rem now getting caught by a wide.
3-2.
Down to the wire.
Here's the big diamond recast. This is going to force out the spell.
And caught on the very edge of
indecisive.
A basic. And all it takes is 1 hit for Hourai to take this incredibly close game. The diamonds are coming in. The diamond waves trying to force out some panic from Rem here, but Rem will just come right through, have the Dispel to work with.
Dispel.
And has a setup. 1 heart to 1. Rachel, it's
synchronized
so
dance for the past. Oh!
Oh, and
spot the difference. It wins.
Wow, incredibly close game, but Rem barely taking the lead here to win it 2-1.
Last heart, last card, last game, every game. Whoa.
Incredible game.
I'm glad that you knew at a glance that was the one to watch, because you were extremely correct. That was incredible.
Well, don't expect me to be that correct later on, because there are a lot of other matchups. 1 out of 14 is a bit difficult in terms of guessing here, as wow, this next round goes a little crazy as well.
Oh man. I'll let you pick and I'll start writing up the Discord post.
I think it's Celie versus Penguin, the second.
Alright, yeah, 2 people we haven't seen on stream before. Or at least so far. We go into round 4 here. As always, first half is lobby 1, second half is lobby 2, and I will write out which matches this are.
So, due to my break, I completely missed both Celie and Penguin joining the community, so I have no clue about both of these players. Zero information. Bit clueless.
Celie, I have seen play a few different characters. I think gravitating towards Dreadworm right now, and Penguin is, I'm pretty sure, a devout Red Hood main. Both are up and coming. I think Celie is newer and has been really active in a lot of the matchup channels, trying to get advice and theorycraft and figure out how to improve. Let's see how much it's helped so far.
Yeah, both
looks
of them
like this is a. Oh, sorry. Go for
I
it.
was just about to say they're both 2-1, but like that's about it. You probably have something more interesting.
That I was refreshing the page to say the exact same thing. So.
Well.
Looks like we've got 6 out of our 7 matches in Lobby 2 going. Carbon Chaos just waiting for an opponent. I believe it is HubSkoa.
Versus Penguin, it will be the Sun that is coming out against the Red Hood here. It's going to be an interesting game.
Sun!
This is a... Wow, when I see Sun versus Red, I just remember Spellberta. I just remember that tournament series because that tournament had a lot of Reds and a lot of Suns.
Some Red Hood wide box and back into long range neutral. Some really good diamond waves, but they're not enough. Wow!
Whoa! Penguin!
What?
A bit of a diamond dodging master there, completely confident in getting through them.
Has the defensive up and just uses it for the kunai pressure. Whoa.
But we'll
get it that time.
Yeah.
Stuck against the wall.
We'll get hit there as the pressure comes through from Celie, but Penguin's still looking very, very confident here and not getting caught at all, just constantly throwing out the basics, but will accidentally drift into one of those wides, evening up the game. Got to be a little bit careful in the corner, and this time the diamonds will hit their mark here. Penguin now with 1 heart remaining. Celie was the one who took the first 2 hits, but is now stabilized very, very well, and is just playing pretty defensively, knowing that eventually one of these diamonds, one of these wides will land, and they do. First card to Celie. Oh, really good corner pressure from Celie right off of round start, but it is actually Penguin with the retreating basic who finds the hit first. A critical hit to get out of there, but long range diamonds, Penguin misreads them despite the confidence earlier. Unfortunately, does not get it this time, but will find the basic to get out of the diamond pressure. We're going back and forth here as the long-range diamonds come in once again. Penguin space being reduced here, and does go in with the vanish, but the vanish expires just as the diamonds are there, and now it's 2-2 again, but Celie will be the one getting hit here. 1 heart remaining.
Diamonds on cooldown. Snowy waves. Macroing the kunais just fine. Here they come. Vanishing in, Dispel out.
And the
Dispel. Got the distance again. The diamonds here are going to be... Oh, they get the hit anyways.
Yeah, the Dispel really nullified all of those waves of the kunai there. And now the diamond...
A whole second until Vanish, and it's up.
Getting in there on the edge of the Dispel, one of the most dangerous places to be in the game, but we'll get out of there. Penguin, 1 heart remaining. Same with Celie. Tough spot for both players as the diamonds come in once again, but confident diamond dodging from Penguin.
With no vanish, and it comes activated on cooldown.
Yeah, right on time here, but now a really tough spot against the wall, and Penguin's gonna have to be really decisive here. But we'll dodge the diamonds, we'll get in there, but this is not a range you want to play at if you're Red Hood.
It feels weird to call that close range macro, but baiting those kunais really well and just gets meleeed at that range. Eventually something's gonna hit.
Well played, but the first hit will be found by Celie, who does not want to let this first game go. Diamonds coming out once again and will find their mark. Penguin, 2 hearts remaining, is not a lot to work with against Celie, who has been very resilient on the defense so far. Oh, really good dodge by Celie to not get caught by the kunai and the basic crossfire. Gets out of there and will find another hit onto Penguin. This card is looking like Celie's as the defense is looking very good. Tries to micro the kunai, but unfortunately won't get it that time. But will find the setup afterwards to take the first game.
Finds an opportunity to get on top of Red Hood, and once those Sun melees come out, melee arrows are just not going to compete.
Oh, and it looks like Celie's going random. Whoa, real confidence here. Going random in a tournament like this is definitely a choice, but we'll have to see what character they land on. Could be anyone. Could be Red Hood. And it is Dreadworm. Wait, this is Celie's main, right?
As far as I've seen, yes. And already, just, yeah, force out the Vanish. You know your cooldown's gonna be faster. Look for it again in about 2 seconds here.
Yeah, it's just gonna go right in and try to find the wide pressure, but as the cooldown comes up, Penguin is now safe from that particular interaction, playing at range, not quite trying to get too near, and will find another basic hit. But the very edge of the Novi Fire
too
actually
confident
flips.
in the dodge and just doesn't have the angle against the wall.
Oh, but another crucial hit for Penguin though, making sure those lasers aren't enough pressure in the retreating basic yet again. Penguin with the first card that is incredibly swift. Penguin now playing very patiently, knowing that the wide is coming and will not get hit by the wide. I really thought that one would hit, but Penguin manages to evade it, manages to get a hit back, and now has another lead, but the wide will be enough for that time.
The melee wide mix-ups are so scary. You know you have to like run at whatever angle you can take it to get away from the Nova, but you do that and you just get hit by wide faster than you can react.
Gotta be pretty careful here at this range. Celie trying to find an angle to approach, trying to survive for long enough for the walls to close a little bit more favorably. Just trying to macro as much as possible at the moment. And Penguin just trying to catch that movement, trying to find an opportunity to find a hit, to open the walls back up to close out this game. But Celie surviving very well for now, and will Novi fire defensively this time, and will actually find a wide hit right afterwards. It could have been a dangerous situation after the Novi fire.
Celie wasn't finding success in the that first card. Just running straight in and waiting until smaller walls seems like a really good choice. Red Hood has so much less space to work with.
But gets caught on the very edge of the basic.
Much
here.
less
Does
room
Novi
to
fire.
run away. Forces out the spell. Or not the spell, Vanish.
Yeah, with that big cooldown down and the wide hit, big opportunity for Celie. Novi fire, but the respawn invulnerability doesn't matter. Still finds the
Wide
hit.
gets it.
Oh, but that could have been really dangerous for Celie. Just missing it barely.
There's a kunai right next to... Oh boy. Long range here. Celie gonna run straight in again.
Going to try and find that pressure, trying to get the wide afterwards, but looks like Penguin has become a little bit used to that kind of pressure at the moment. Not getting hit by the wide, but the Vanish will be forced out by Celie. But aggression by Penguin actually goes into melee range with the Hood basic and actually will find it. Hit returned, and the Novi fire not quite connecting this time. The kunai will be perfect to find the hit in return. Penguin looking very good here. But a hit found right back with the basic. Celie finding the wide and looking to close out this set with one more hit here. One hit is all it takes, and the Vanish cooldown is down. The Novi fire is a possibility here, and the Novi fire will close it for Celie.
That's 2-0 with random characters. Congrats to them for having that confidence and delivering.
Yeah, well played. And that was a pretty good one. Penguin looked very good. The confidence against the Diamonds, taking it to a very close game in this one as well. Definitely looking forward to them later in the rounds.
Oh, I've got the double lobby music going. Oh no.
I'm gonna try to fit all 6 Swiss rounds on the screen, which might be...
Good luck.
Yeah, it might be a bit of a mistake, but...
You should be able to scroll down just with if you right-click interact with the web source.
Well, I'm trying to make it so that it's also readable, which also might be a mistake.
That seems impossible.
Wait, if I fit all of them on... Okay. There's no way I could put all of them on one line. That's actually the bigger mistake. But for now, I think it's... Is it readable?
If I full screen it?
I'm adjusting.
Barely. Yeah, actually.
There we go. It could be worse.
Oh, I like that you put us behind the one of the layers.
Yeah.
I used a I guess yeah. It wouldn't make sense for there to be movement on this scene. So we're just waiting on Hourai BB Hood and Rem and Kewpie. Rem and Kewpie is probably really good. I have a sort of dummy challenge ready for us to manually enter top 4 into once we get there.
Oh, that'll definitely be pretty fun because we're gonna go directly from winners finals to losers semis to losers finals to grands.
Yep. Just 4 great games. Figuring out top 4 in that order.
Yeah, this round might take a little bit longer because of some internet issues, but given how we're progressing quite nicely, I don't think that'll be too much of an issue. Most of the matches that are still going are right here.
Our theoretical round time for ending round 4 would have been 9:50, right? Am I? Yeah.
Would it?
Yeah, because
it would, yeah.
We would. So we're ahead of schedule.
Oh, we are wow, a tournament ahead of schedule.
And we started late. I mean, of course we did. And people didn't know which lobby to go into. But round 1 still ended on time, and then everything else has been shorter than 15 when we estimated 20.
Looks like Kewpie has taken it over Rem 2-1. So the current front runners are Game Freak and Kewpie, I believe. And Jfeather, Roxy, Celie, Max, Dawn, and Rem hot on the trail. Waiting on Hourai and BB Hood, which is also happening at the moment, but it should also finish up pretty soon. Also, thank you to everyone who's sticking around, not only the players but also the spectators, because I did not expect us to keep 80 viewers for this, but we are maintaining 80.
Yeah. We're keeping up the pace. I'm hoping that we have a lot of people in the audience who might be seeing Maiden Spell for the first time, and this is a pretty great showcase we're seeing.
Yeah, oh, and the next round has indeed been generated, and I think it would be a disservice if we didn't watch Game Freak Kewpie in this one.
Oh, yeah.
I think round 6 will be the one where we head over to 2 completely new names, but this one is the two undefeated players fighting each other. So I think that'll be it.
All right.
Yeah, to those of you who only know me from other games, Maiden Spell is the first somewhat competitive video game community I've ever been in, all the way back during the Spell Bertas, which Gosh ran. The weekend I got Maiden Spell, I asked him if I could commentate, and it was a bit of a mistake from me, but now we're here.
I swear, I actually played a little bit of Omega Strikers around beta. It was like top 2000, and when I saw tournaments start popping up around that, and I saw your name, it felt like a jump scare. Like I had no idea, and I didn't get into Omega Strikers enough to be like popping in to say hi or participating in anything, but it was really cool to see the crossover there.
Yeah, I think as the years go by, I think I'm running into a lot of people that I used to know in completely different places. I think, Mega Strikers in particular, I think Kiroko was playing one time, and we had a little chat about that for like 2 sentences, but...
I booted up Omega Strikers to play with Kiroko for the first time in some years, I think. I had some games where I did some cool things. I had some games where I threw as Luna goalie, you know. Anyways, Game Freak vs. Kewpie. Seeing a very different Storm to Kiroko earlier.
Yeah, and I think this is the matchup of current Maiden Spell, or at least the past year or so, because these two players have been consistently doing incredibly well with these two characters against each other, often in grand finals.
Kewpie charging as many full basics as possible, getting that, just squeezing out inchworm in between those basics.
And getting the wide hit there as well, catching Game Freak on the movement. Not exactly what you want to see if you're a Game Freak fan, but Game is just circling around the field, but this is kind of uncharacteristic. Do you see that a bunch of 3 butterflies? Usually they're spread all across the stage, but Game has been relatively static, more so than usual this game. Sometimes
you're just pushed in ways that there are sides of the screen you can't access against Storm Beast, and so Lich has to really make do. She doesn't get to flower off cooldown, she doesn't get to place the butterflies wherever she wants.
But at the moment, Game with a pretty solid setup. A flash step from Kewpie will get out of there. Now Game in a lot of trouble. The charge basics will find the checkmate, as Game with 1 heart remaining needs to be very careful here as Kewpie's trying to finish off the game.
Finds the gap to circle around.
Oh, and gets caught on a wide.
Just with the wide.
Game bringing it back there and looking quite good as another round starts. This time I think making a more conscious effort. I think realizing the previous round Kewpie was forcing those butterflies to be very static. Now Game's actively spreading them across the map, making a lap so that the ones that expire will be replaced by the new ones. And a big flower charge coming up. Very aware of the wide is Game, just dodging away from it. As Kewpie gets caught on a wide while trying to circle around the map, and now Game's in a really commanding position with another wide hit as well. This game is looking very decisive. Another flower to try and find positioning here, but getting caught on the entry by Kewpie, who is still in this, still has a heart to work with against Game Freaks 2. Game goes in. Needs to be careful though. Tough spot, but will have the patience to not get caught by the wides or the basics. And now Kewpie's trying to form a wall, but at this distance, I don't think that's the setup. Not quite getting it here. Going for a melee. Going for a checkmate.
Wow! The nothing
Oh,
person. Oh, and then bonks into the wide. That was the nothing personnel. It teleports behind you, checkmates you instantly.
yeah, that was a beautiful hit from Kewpie. Unfortunately, getting hit right afterwards. But if that gets clipped, like that will be the clip that people watch, not the getting hit afterwards.
Yeah, cut that clip before the card ends. Make it seem like it goes on until min walls again.
Make it seem like Kewpie just absolutely dominated the rest of that one, which is what Kewpie's trying to do here with a bit of a heart lead with the flash step going in, but a weird basic trajectory, and that's a hit right back. Another bonk on the wide, I believe, but getting a hit right back again. Really back and forth on this one.
At this mid range, it's really hard for Storm to find the time to charge up a basic if Lich is just firing out all those basics off of her attack speed, but gets caught by the clone.
Game 1 heart. Same with Kewpie. The basics are firing
Scary
in,
position for both of them.
and the basic will do
exit.
it. The Lich basic, I think, a tool that I think all Lich players know is an incredible part of the toolkit, but I think a new player would look at it and say, this is a little pathetic, but it is quite good.
It is a really reliable way to interrupt Storm, and when you're not close to Storm, this is what happens. If you can't stop her from charging, she's going to cover the whole screen.
Yeah.
Game Freak backs up for maybe 5 to 8 seconds and just gets pushed into the wall.
Right now,
right
though,
back to scrappy melee.
Yeah, looking very confident going in once again, pressuring with the basics, and almost doing it, but getting caught by Kewpie on the mind game there. Now Kewpie just going to the other side of the map, starting to charge, putting game in a situation where Flower has to be burned and gets caught by the charge basics.
Now that the butterfly behind QP's despawn, there's a lot of space for the Storm Beast here. Yeah, and that's gonna do it.
Such a close game. We're down to the final card on this one. Game looking to close out this series, but Kewpie will be the one to find the first hit by a lot of time, especially these early game hits right before the Lich can set up. Give Kewpie a lot of space to work with. But game.
Ooh, he loses the melee exchange. Wins the next one. Stormbeast can do some really scary things while she's got invul.
Oh, and the game can't quite get out of that situation. Places the flower down, but now needs to be very careful in terms of movement decisions because the charge basics are approaching from Kewpie, who will maintain this wall despite all of it. There will be a gap though that game does get out of, and Game Freak will set up the flower to try and approach even further, but with one heart remaining, it's a dangerous situation.
With those butterflies so close, it's really hard to keep up the basic charge tempo. You end up dropping at just one and suddenly there's a gap and all of it was for naught.
Oh, but that flower being placed down means that game doesn't have that resource for a little while longer, but will find the hit regardless. And the game could be closed out despite everything, despite that resource being down, as now the charge bases are coming through. But that butterfly, the Y, is a dangerous situation for Kewpie, who needs to maneuver around them. And the charge basics are coming out, but game has the flower, has the pressure, has the flash step burned. Going in for it once again. The basics from Kewpie barely do not connect, as game will try to get out of there. Maybe a wide is coming, but no, Kewpie confident in the basics.
Micros the basics, and the flower gets through.
Kewpie's movement is crazy right now, but at the very end,
just sandwiched between 4 butterflies at short range.
Incredibly well played from both players, but game will be the one on top here. 2-0 over Kewpie, but one of the closest 2-0s of all time, I think.
Yeah. Oh, looks like we've got some really close games elsewhere in the round 2. HubSkoa and RoboCat, 2 players who coming into this 0-4, looks like they're having a really good round. That's the beauty of Swiss.
I'm seeing a bit of a vintage matchup in this round too. Kero and Blaster.
Oh boy.
2 long-standing players of this game.
Oh yeah, Blaster. It's that Blaster.
Yep.
I remember now. Yeah.
With the top 4 cutoff, round 6 is going to be very, very dangerous for all the players with 1 loss, with 2 losses.
I believe I did the math, and the way it works is 5 and 1 should be in, but you're gonna have to get really lucky with tiebreakers if you're 4 and 2.
And Game Freak is guaranteed in top 4. We don't know where yet, but in that top 4, Game Freak is guaranteed as the 5 and 0.
Alright, we're waiting on 2 in my lobby, Carbon Chaos and Fractal, and Dawn and Hopo. Like, Carbon Chaos is reporting. We have a drop going into the next round. Offhand side, do I just remove the participant if there's a drop?
I don't know actually. I haven't done Swiss that much with challenge. But I think unfortunately, if there's a singular drop, I think you have to keep them in and treat it as a DQ, because otherwise it'll be an odd number anyway.
Right,
Yeah,
and then there would just be a
28,
buy.
So
Yeah, the thing about buys is they do go to the lowest seed. So this would then be against someone who would be Karo's matchup. See. We'll see.
yeah, I think it should work out, as the next round is here.
Karo's was about to be Red Alice, who is getting a bye this round.
And it looks like we can take a look at 2 newer players for this round, I think.
Alright. Who you got in mind?
I think one of the familiar names, and someone who I've also seen in the chat pretty recently, HubSkoa versus BunniestBunRena.
Silveray has just messaged me asking to join in late. I guess you could play the last round against Red Alice if you'd like.
Yeah, unfortunately we were so ahead of time that even joining late won't really be a join, unfortunately. But that's about it.
Alright, who did you say you wanted to spectate? Let me make the call goes.
HubSkoa, BunniestBunRena.
Alright.
Oh, I almost missed their match. That could have been a bit of a blunder, but I caught it. And they're having a little bit of fun with it. Drenched Archives, bit of a departure. Well, we're seeing Frost appearing here against the son of Reyna. HubSkoa, of course, has been using a Frost profile picture, even in a different community, so definitely dedicated to this particular character. But right now, Reyna's playing the keep away game quite well here. HubSkoa getting caught out by those basics. And HubSkoa at 1 heart remaining, trying to basic right through, but the basics from Reyna will be the one to catch HubSkoa out here, as the sun pressure is really converging.
Okay, call-out's complete. Oh, I love the I don't know if I love the blue on blue, but I do actually love this stage.
It looks really good when you're focused on the gameplay, but the moment I try to look at the background, I get dizzy. But when I'm focused on the gameplay, it looks really nice.
Yeah. Getting that focus basic pressure, but just is really struggling to hold that down with the basics coming out.
Yeah, Rena at the moment looking very, very confident in these diamonds in the wide pressure as well as the basics to catch HubSkoa whenever the focus basic is being attempted here. I think HubSkoa just needs to use the roll a little more. I think that'll be the biggest difference maker because it is quite a good tool that Frost has. But I think with that, HubSkoa could get in there a lot more. We could see a very different game. But moving out of the basics more proactively is HubSkoa, letting go of the basic and actually getting a hit just as that sunburst was about to pop. A very, very fortunate hit for HubSkoa here, as the diamonds will get the better of him here. But Rena, on the other hand, just setting up the wides, setting up the pressure as they converge, and HubSkoa not able to get out of it in time. Now, the wide layering coming out from Rena is so good, actually, forcing HubSkoa into really unfortunate defensive situations and getting the basic as well. Rena's wide layering. Wow, okay. I got a little tongue-tied, but the wide usage from Rena has been a very, very big factor in those diamonds catching as well. Looking quite good. But a double hit, actually, as it's 3-1. But Rena will close it out 2-0 against HubSkoa, taking the win in round 6.
Let's see if you can get into another one before Swiss closes out.
Let's see.
God. Probably say in chat, please go to character select. Oh, you got one there.
Oh.
That is Celie versus 4Jelly.
Well, I don't know the score, but...
Don't know.
Oh, Celie's up, okay.
Alright, yeah.
Celie one up at the moment. Going random again, I believe, on the Storm Beast this time against Jelly, who is on the Frost. And Celie, we saw two very different Storm playstyles on stream. Celie looking like a mix of both here. Not too committed to the charge layering, but a little bit. And the Storm wide is a bit unfortunate for a lot of players to deal with, and we're kind of seeing it here as Celie is earning a lot of hits from catching out movement with that, as Jelly goes for a stun wave, but Celie just a little too fast, gets out of there in time. Right, once again, the focus basics being thrown out, and
the roll's not far enough.
Yeah, Celie setting up that quite well here, and now trying to just catch the last hit to try and close out this card, and will get the clone melee basic.
Can't stand next to the clone. Tough because, yeah, Frost basic is notoriously macroable, and Storm is really good at just running up and down. She hasn't had to pass through a single, like, cluster of bullets so far this entire card.
Yeah, and Celie just feeling very comfortable here. Does micro a little bit, but just starts macroing again right afterwards, trying to charge here now, trying to get around, trying to catch out with the wide, but so far Jelly will stand strong against the wide, not moving too far, just holding the focus basic to try and stay alive here, but in a tough spot now, rolls across, but now the wides and the basics will be a lot more threatening, but it will actually be the basic from Jelly that catches Celie that time.
And now that things are getting a bit closer, Frost can start doing some closer range mix-ups, put in some wides, maybe run in and try to stun. Otherwise, she really has to keep up that pressure, even if it doesn't seem like it's doing much. It's making it so that the Storm Beast can't charge up 3 basics in a row. Ooh, gets the stun.
Yeah, and rolls right through the melee basic attempt here. Celie trying to close out this game desperately, going for so many melee attempts.
Oh, the hopscotch melees, and Frost comes out on top.
Joey's survival really crucial there to send us to a final card in this game to try and stay alive in this round. But Celie now putting down a lot of charge here, and the roll will not be enough to get across. So Rachel, I think I remember Verse saying something, or was it Mothfan? I'm pretty sure it was Verse saying something about a double hit ruling. Oh no, now I think it was Mothfan. Now I'm getting confused because I didn't pay too much attention. But forget about that. Charge basics from Celie. We'll seal it. But double hit ruling, right? Is it a remake to Last Heart?
I don't remember what the ruling is. Actually, I would have to go look because I know it was in Sun's Revenge. I can just check. Oh, it looks like, yeah, that's 2-0, and we'll be moving on to bracket in a few minutes here. I'll send you the link for the top 4. I was just going to put them in manually.
All right, got the link. So as the last round is progressing, any thoughts on the tournament so far, other than being ahead of schedule?
Swiss is great. I saw 2 players who had gone 0-4 report 2-1 after as one of the last matches to report, and I wasn't there. I don't know how it went, but I could not be happier about the opportunity for new players to find each other in an event, because that just doesn't happen without like dedicated beginner tournaments where now everyone's here. We're not splitting in half. Like, are you a beginner? Are you an intermediate? Which tournament? When are you signing up? Mm-hmm. You just end up somewhere else in Swiss. Your record decides where you go.
Yeah, it was a great experience, and can't wait to see bracket as well, because that will be a showcase of some of the best this game has to offer. And
standings are shaking up. No, Game Freak did not stay undefeated. We're gonna see I think a few 5-1s make it.
Oh, this is gonna be really interesting, because I think there might be enough 5-1s such that 1-5-1 might not make it.
I guess. Oh, you're right.
It's a possibility.
No, there's going to be 3 5-1s, and then exactly 1 4-2 is going to make it, and that's going to come down to tiebreaker first, which means how many other 4-2 players have you beaten head-to-head?
No, but the thing is that there could be 2 more, because Swiss calculators are just estimates.
Well, Kewpie and Game Freak played. Rem and Jay didn't play because they already went head-to-head.
Yeah, there's a lot of scenarios that could happen. Yeah, there could be 2. There could be 5 and 1s, but hopefully, head-to-head tiebreakers will resolve that cleanly.
Yeah, Dawn got paired down into Max, and looks like Jay Feather got paired down into Roxy. So if Dawn and Jay both win, and Jay's already won, then we might have, whoever's lowest on the tiebreaker 5-1 doesn't make it.
Alright, I've sniped Max and Dawn here. It's 1-1.
Oh, wow.
Bound to be an interesting watch here as not quite sure how this one will go. Two very, very closely matched players. Max, though, looking to be in the advantage right now, getting a slow at the very least here, and that slow could be very valuable in trapping a Dawn in a corner. Dawn just backing up, playing at distance here, but as long as Max doesn't bonk like that too often, I think Max will be pretty happy with Dawn playing back. The debuff's not looking to be a main factor here as Dawn is playing pretty vertically most of the time. Seems to be a pretty conscious decision to try and evade the debuffs here, but as the walls close in, the Arcanist pressure gets a little scary, but so does dodging a lot of the Red Hood stuff as well, so it's going to be interesting to see how Max plays the defense here as Dawn is going to have to try and get away, but with that confused, the offense is halted for a moment, and Max 2-2. If the walls close a little more, this could be really huge for the Arcanist.
Having to go back and forth through those Red Hood arrows can get a little scary, but it's working out so far. Getting in really close with the wide.
Oh, but a catch found
Too
with the
close.
basic. Time stop.
Yeah.
Oh! Dawn
Ooh, just has enough move speed, but gets caught by the wide.
But still in a really tough spot, and the wides will close it for Max. The first card, a critical first card in this final game, going over to Max. Now is
Game of chicken with waiting for the basic there, and just eventually gets too scared and runs into the wide.
Wide just coming out. Dawn really just filling the field, trying to make it so that Max is more likely to bonk into one of those, but needs to be careful as no one's gotten hit. Well, Caster's Curse, someone's gotten hit, but up until then the walls were rapidly closing. Exactly the situation that Max wants to see, the defensive clock to try and keep up the pressure, as the Paralyze is in the favor of Max here, but unable to get a hit off of that. Dawn weathers the storm. Max now once again with the corner pressure, but Dawn will get out. Will get debuffed a whole bunch, but only the confused sticks. But now it's truly
the moon. Yep. Center moon, and that's it. You have to stay in the corner when that cooldown comes up.
Game's on a timer now if Max can avoid the hits, but it's 2-2, still incredibly close. And the kunai will catch, the focus kunai.
The arena opening up a little bit, that's good for Red Hood.
Dawn with a lot more room to maneuver here as Max goes
Ooh.
For an attempted clock.
Gets the minimize. Ooh, that vertical kunai.
But the basic.
Gets caught by the basic.
Final card. This is incredibly important for Dawn here. This could mean bracket qualification if he manages to defeat Max, but still, like, it is incredibly close.
Right now our 5-1s are Rem, Game Freak, Kewpie, and J-Feather. Dawn can either be our last one or go out here at 4-2.
Max now trying to push forward, but getting caught by the basic, and now Dawn is in the advantage. The walls are open enough that it is not an immediate threat. And another basic catch, incredibly huge for Dawn, a 4-1 lead. All it takes is one more hit to close out this set. As Max is just patiently trying to go on the offense here, but will be unable to get too much value off of the clock. Just trying to put on the pressure in this corner, but Dawn will get out of there. Will just hold strong against the wide, not get pressure too hard, and will vanish out of the corner. Max trying to find some pressure, and will find a hit, but just one more hit is required for Dawn to close out this game. Incredibly tense situation as Max is trying to evade the red wide as well as the kunai and the basics. Dawn just circling the field, not trying to get caught by the moon here. But the moon will approach. Dawn forced to one side, now in a dangerous spot. The clock to try and buy a little bit more space for Max here. A really dangerous situation for both players. And Max will find the hit first.
Moon and basic is just a full checkmate.
But still needs to stay alive until the next rotation. And the kunai and the basic will be perfectly lined up. Dawn will take it, and we'll see how the standings shake out.
We'll see. Dawn got paired down because they had the worst tiebreaker out of the 4-1s. And had lost the head-to-head to J-Feather before, I believe. No, what was? Yeah, lost the round 1, lost to J-Feather, and has been trying to climb up out of a lower standing since.
But like you mentioned, paired down, the tiebreaker's not good enough, and it will be Kewpie, Game Freak, Rem, and J-Feather.
Alright. Yeah, and that's going to be because all the other 5-1s have game wins either against each other or against Dawn, and because Dawn lost to J-Feather and hasn't won against anyone else, that's going to put them at the lowest out of the 5.
Yep.
Both trolls and points difference. Kewpie, interestingly enough, having the highest tiebreaker, but actually the closest games, the most going to 2-1.
Yeah, and we're going to see another Kewpie Game Freak banger in the winner's side.
Oh boy. You're putting those in?
Yeah, I'll put them in.
I mean, I guess now if you're already on it, go for it.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
And then settings, let's see. Right? Yeah, bracket looks ready.
Alright, we're starting with a Kewpie Game Freak, right?
Yeah.
Already a rematch. I'll make a post in tournament info, and I'm sure you have that embedded. Stream already.
Not quite already, but it will be in a few seconds.
Hey guys.
Welcome back, Hourai.
Well,
Cool.
the bad news is I did not take top 4, but the good news is that means I get to devote all my attention to commentating with my #1 commentary partner, and Saya.
No!
I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. No offense, Rachel, but Saya and I commentated together so many times.
No, I believe it. This is like my first time here in the caster boost. I'm usually the one in here in top 4, or was. I definitely will not be again anytime soon.
A lot has changed, but all the way back in 2020, where it was you and me for a while, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. You Spellberta and then Dispel, and then
Bunch of QRs, a bunch of quarantine reports.
oh yeah, maybe a couple.
By couple, I think, but by bunch, I think I meant one actually.
Oh, okay.
Well, it was pretty notable. Well, since it's top 4 and I expect a lot more people to be watching now, I will be putting up predictions for real this time instead of that
Oh,
one
boy.
time.
Oh boy.
People love those, don't they?
Awesome.
I do feel a little bit bad for Dawn missing out at 5-1, but top cut tiebreakers happen, and honestly, a head-to-head tiebreaker score is one of the better ways to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm actually gonna cut to like a very short break, but yeah, we should be ready to get started right
Yeah,
after
fair
that.
enough. I'm gonna
All right.
go get some water. I'll be right back.
Hello, maidens and spells, and maybe even some rabbits and steals. We're back. I don't know. I've always been bad at intros. I'm not getting any help. Hourai.
Oh, welcome back to Moongazing Downward. This is, I believe, one of the first Swiss tournaments we've had in a while. The Swiss portion just ended up, and we have Kewpie, Game Freak, Rem, and Jfeather as our top four, about to face off in a double elimination bracket, where the top two start in winners.
We're starting with that winners bracket. We've got winners semifinals here. The loser of this will move on to losers finals, greeted by the losers semifinal match, which we'll play right after this.
Will definitely be a good one. Kewpie and Game Freak we saw earlier on in the rounds here, but they're back at it. They're back against each other here, and it should be a good game because these two have been in so many grand finals, so many winners finals, so many grand finals against each other. It's gonna be Yet another case of them against each other here.
We will
One
see how
box.
Kewpie adapts for the rematch. I believe Game Freak won this in the Swiss portion, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a best of 5 too, so it's gonna be a bit longer of a series here.
Oh, I did not realize this was best of 5. Good to know.
Game Freak pushing really far away from center.
Oh,
Ooh.
Doesn't squeeze through.
yeah, caught immediately by a tiny bit, the smallest wall setup I've ever seen from Kewpie, but it ends up working here. And Hourai, what do you think is like the main win condition for Kewpie here that could be different from their earlier meeting?
Let me think. Well, I didn't get to see all of it, but I saw the latter half, and I think that it is going to... I think it's going to come down to a lot of good dodging for Kewpie, especially with those wides, because I believe that is what Kewpie ran into after the nothing personnel kid moment in the last set.
Yeah, great clip, but right now we're seeing Kewpie run into quite a few wides, but immediately returning the favor with a bunch of melee basics here. Really doing a lot of work for Kewpie, catching game off guard, going for another episode of the nothing personal moment. This time it's different.
Nice job by Kewpie staying still there. Probably the right call. Gonna need a flash step soon, I think. Ooh, it doesn't happen. Kewpie gets hit.
Yeah, and now game on the bottom side, trying to start a bit of pressure, moving up pretty aggressively here, and not getting caught by the clone's basic either. Positioning quite well to not get caught in the race a lot
Flower.
of bullets. With that flower erasing the bullets, the flower
Kewpie
cooldown
has
is
the
still
spacing.
down.
Oh!
The flower, or butterfly, I mean, catches Kewpie at the last second.
Just risks too much to get the setup finished.
Oh, and that's a heartbreaker in that last card, because Kewpie had that in the bag if the defense was there, but will be trying to take this one regardless. 2-heart lead very early, trapping Game Freak quite well.
Game Freak doesn't want to give up center and just gets completely punished for it, dodging forward off of the charge basics.
Yeah, and whenever you watch Game Freak's movement, right, he always wants to push forward. Even when Kewpie's charging walls, always wants to be on the aggression, and that does a lot of good, but it's also a very risky playstyle.
Doesn't get punished there.
A lot of risky dodges by Kewpie just there. Did you guys see that?
Caught by the wide. Nerves might be getting to Game Freak here.
Yeah, Kewpie's been going very, very close to a lot of these wides and these flowers, and even the butterflies as well. Has bonked quite a few wides so far in both the previous and this match, but right now is keeping up the offense, keeping distance from Game Freak.
Game Freak's doing something I want to point out. When the setup is being made at the other side of the screen, just staying in one place so all the basics go in the same spot, forcing the Storm player to have to build that wall out of sort of sliding the wide charges around, not just following you as you move up.
Oh,
Waiting until the last... Oh, wow. Round start.
That was tough for Game Freak because I think moving backward would have just gotten him hit later.
Flower in the corner is not what you want to see in about 10 seconds here. Kewpie's going to have so much space once this despawns.
yeah, and Game Freak's going to have to be very, very careful around the pressure that Kewpie's going to be able to build
Right
up.
behind the butterfly, right behind Kewpie here.
But with Game Freak going down to 2 hearts, Kewpie is sitting a lot more comfortably here, but Game Freak somehow manages to maneuver out of the corner and actually gets a hit in return.
Find some space without a wide.
Ooh.
But does
Doesn't last
another
long.
hit. Oh, but the wide.
Oh no!
The wide makes up at melee range. For that couple of seconds that Storm has invul, you're just so scared. Do I try and sidestep the basic, or do I get scared about her just wiggling around with a wide on top of me?
Oh, and a
the
really,
base.
really good.
Round start melee exchange goes the way of Kewpie this time, and he's up 2, and he has a route through the bottom open to him. In theory,
Yeah.
That last hit aside, I think Kewpie showed really good control of Storm Beast in the last 2 cards of the last game.
Yeah, and the first bit of this one as well, catching a lot of Game Freak's
Here comes the
over
wall.
aggression.
Can't charge the basics enough to make the wall come together. That's what that pressure buys you, but finds it wedged between the clone.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the strength of Game Freak's game plan as this pretty unique Lich is that aggression, but Kewpie, I think, very adapted to that, very used to it, and is punishing a lot of that aggression immediately, but on this particular card, Game Freak off to a much better start than the previous ones. Right? Game Freak.
Oh, nice
still-
little dodges by Game Freak there, moving back and forth.
Yeah, not trying to get caught, trying to build up a bit of a lead here as the walls are closing in, trying to get in Kewpie's face as much as possible,
Kewpie's
but
fine to swap over. This butterfly's next to despawn. No, I was wrong. It is now next to despawn.
Kewpie might with the basic.
Yeah, wow.
Wow!
My God.
well, Kewpie getting out of there means Game Freak now in a really tough spot
Just so
there.
comfortable dead zoning this butterfly somehow and microing the rest. What is happening?
Kewpie in a very commanding lead. 2 more hits to get a 2-0 lead in this best of 5 here. And a rare railgun comes out as well. Not going to do much there as accidentally running into a flower is
Can't plug the
Kewpie.
hole with the clone in time.
And Game Freak now in a pretty solid spot here. The setup is not bad at all, but a good catch from Kewpie to kill that momentum instantly.
The mix up and it's 2-1. Lich has such good butterflies right now. You don't want to be anywhere on this screen.
Kewpie still
Flower despawned and it's not getting replaced. That buys Kewpie some space.
has Kewpie so much space, and Game Freak, while trying to find the window, runs into the basic. It's 2-0 up for Kewpie.
Charging those Stormbeast basics that close to the flower pressure is so hard.
Getting back to character select here. I wonder if Game Freak's going to pull out something different.
Someone in I think there are murmurs of Kewpie pulling out Depths, which is a checkmate character that might have a better matchup against Lich. More consistent at range, a little bit less slowdown from charging.
Oh, and a really good setup from Kewpie actually, forcing Game Freak's movement in the corner and going in with Y to try and catch that opening, and will be able to do so here. And Game Freak's going to have a lot of trouble getting around these basics now because, oh, never mind.
Just from all sides, completely surrounded by those butterflies. And that's the Stormbeast special, and the wall just isn't necessarily complete. At worst, it can just force out like very obvious movement from your opponent, and you just run in for the complete target practice of a melee, and you don't like to see those.
Oh!
Oh, can't get through in time.
Wait, was that railgun from the Stormbeast? And
That was the railgun.
and was that railgun from Stormbeast and tap basic from clone? Was that like the?
Yeah, you can desync them.
Yeah, that was covered
It's-
in the very old Kiroko Storm Guide.
It doesn't come up that often, but that's really cool to see it used.
If it was double railgun, my bad. But right now, Game Freak in a pretty good spot here. Has a lot of pressure in the corner on Kewpie. Does find another hit
Gets that
here.
butterfly spread, but has the wide in a weird spot now. There you go. That makes more sense.
But that bottom left
Still,
corner,
not quite any vertical butterflies, just keeping them mostly at center. Here comes the forward butterfly. One far back, so you switch sides, and it's still just as bad.
right? Game Freak navigating that situation quite well here.
Pushing in.
Oh yeah, suddenly this looks bad for Kewpie.
Walks backwards into a flower.
Well played by
All
Game
right.
Freak. But this round start could really change the course of this set here, and with Kewpie getting the first hit, slowing down Game Freak's setup quite a bit here, especially when Game Freak's getting pushed back by those charged basics, and now Kewpie has had so much more time to play with.
Yeah, Game Freak can approach and get more threatening butterfly, but these shots alone are forcing Kewpie off, and here comes the pressure.
Looked like Kewpie really wanted to hit there. That was a tough spot to dodge.
If you swap sides with defensive now, you're stuck with 2 really uncomfortable butterflies over there as well.
Kewpie content to stay on the right side, but the borders are shrinking as we speak. Charge Basics trying to push Game Freak back, but at the moment Game Freak's finding the gaps and finding the basic pressure, but will actually get caught there.
Doesn't quite get out between the angle. Yeah, Game Freak going all the way down to the bottom wall and hugging it so that the next basic is at the sharpest angle possible and just gets pushed into the wide.
1 heart remaining for Game Freak here as the charge basics are approaching, and they will clip Game Freak's approach. It is Kewpie with a decisive 3-0 here in the winner's final.
Well done, Kewpie.
Game Freak, of course, not out yet. Still guaranteed the top 3 and heading straight to losers finals.
Next up is Jfeather versus Rem, right? Gonna be interesting to watch.
Oh yeah. What does Jfeather play here?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know.
That makes sense. That's a minimum of 12 games of Swiss into a top 4 best of 5 without much of a break in between. Still, I have seen longer tournaments. For better or worse. Maybe the open house, people who've been here for the 2 hours of that probably adds up. In hindsight, oh well.
Oh yeah. Although somehow I didn't feel that tired in my last game. Still lost, but...
You don't feel it until there's suddenly a bracket with your name on it.
You know, that makes sense.
Oh. Rem has left the lobby, so might be a tiny bit of a wait, but...
Just in case, I'll do the tourney calls.
Oh, Rem's back.
Back? Okay.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing. I'm really happy that I didn't have to individually ping the people in the callouts channel for every single matchup. People know what the website challenge is. That was a great thing to have found out.
Yeah, it worked out very smoothly. I expected 1 or 2 matches falling really far behind and delaying the entire thing, but that didn't happen at all.
Yeah, people, I mean, sometimes like one lobby's full and people are scrambling, but I mean, that's at most a 5-minute delay, and you know, maybe there's some mirror that's taking a whole 15 minutes and your match is only going to take 8 anyways. Colon 3. Real colon 3 hours.
Colon 3 is a little wacky in the...
It is,
response.
it's like... The 3 goes off the screen like a G. Like, why does it do that? They're not off the line.
The numbers are definitely strange. But if you look at Jfeather's name, the 6 doesn't do that.
Weird. Yeah, some of them go above the line and some below. It's just completely arbitrary. That's awesome.
Very interesting design choice.
That is... And some of them
I've
go
never
well above the
noticed
line.
that. Yeah.
That's really funny.
Zero is indistinguishable from a lowercase O, not even the uppercase one. This game is awesome.
Alright, it is going to be a sun mirror.
Oh boy. We got another one.
We saw an incredible one involving you and Rem Hourai.
Oh, I'm glad you guys enjoyed that. That was a really fun set.
Both of them defaulting to long range for now. Let's see if one of them can get like a really good diamond recast, but nothing yet.
Ooh, and Rem gets the better of that interaction here, and Hourai, in the mirror, I guess, how do you approach this matchup?
So I've been struggling with that lately because I actually did a little practice with Rem the other day because I was worried that Jay was going to counterpick me with Sun because I'm not as good in the mirror. But what I figured out was that for one thing, you have to really pay attention to dodging those wides because you're going to want to have to dodge breakfast combos in close range, and you're going to have to weave through them in long range. And if you're just looking at other players' wides with your peripheral vision, then you're not going to be able to dodge them. The wides you should be looking at with your peripheral vision are your own wides. You should be building structures with them like I do in every matchup. Okay, at least that's how I approach it. Not every player plays like that, but I like to build structures with my wides. And the other thing I need to do in this matchup is be proactive sometimes, or else the other Sun will always get the better of you eventually.
And right now, we're seeing a very tense situation, 1 heart on each side as the Dispel does expire, another one cast. A very dangerous situation, but both players get out.
Nice dodge by Rem.
Ooh, got caught by the edge of the basic. I was going to ask you about that, Hourai, actually. The building up structures. It feels like the sort of ebb and flow, the tide of Sun Priestess coming in and out, that seems so synchronized is because you place a few long range wides and then you follow them so that they match your close range pressure that comes right after.
Yeah, that is one of my main strategies in a lot of matchups.
And it does look quite nice. Not just the color palettes, of course. I think this mirror one of the nicer color palette combos of the mirrors, but the gameplay as well as both players playing very, very well here. A lot of the micro dodges coming through and both players staying relatively healthy as the walls close in.
Forcing out a Dispel on Rem, though. Oh, nice diamond dodge by Rem. Some of the hardest dodges to do in this matchup are dodging diamonds that are just spawning by, like, starting by moving outwards, but then moving inwards to dodge them.
Rem looking extremely practiced in this matchup with what was once a 4-1 health lead, but still a lead. I might be cursing it a little bit, but still a lead, and yeah, just looking very, very confident here.
Gets caught.
Yeah, Rem is very good at this matchup, I think.
What do you think Jay Feather would switch to?
Maybe Lich or Depth, if anything. Those can do well against Sun. But it depends. I don't know how well Rem does against other players. Did Rem win against Game Freak?
Yeah, I think that's why Game Freak wasn't undefeated, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Okay, then maybe Lich wouldn't have been the best call. But it
Depth
depends.
Secret is coming out.
Depth Secret. You're a prophet. I know nothing about this matchup. I'm looking forward to seeing what it's like.
Gonna be a very different one than the one we just saw, but glad to see Depth on the screen. We didn't get to catch any of it during the Swiss stage.
Ooh.
I think out of all the characters in Maiden Spell, I think Depth Secret is the one that Rabbit and Steel players will be pretty familiar with because of that Jellycat.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, doesn't one boss use whirlpools?
A bunch of bosses use this exact sprite of the basic, which is very funny.
Ah, okay.
But I mean, then again, a bunch of bosses also use the moon. Like, that's just all over the game.
Fair. Alright, Rem was able to get the better of Jay that card, but if Jay polishes up his gameplay a bit, it could be a different story. We'll have to see.
Ooh, the diamond recast just runs into a...
Yeah, caught by a
Here
wide
comes
while
the
trying
cat
to dodge the
setup.
diamonds. Trying to get a setup here, but the Dispel will just nullify it. It is a long cooldown though, but it also takes Depth quite a while to get that setup going, so if Rem is elusive here, almost gets out of there.
Nice
but a good
wide.
Nice wide. Here comes the horizontal basic. That's going to be the wrong way.
Rem's diamond management is very, very good.
Jay not finding opportunities to get the shotgun to close out these setups. Oh, as I say, that forces out the dispel. Doesn't come inside the wide fast enough.
I think Jay needed to be a little more audacious there when Rem used that basic.
Maybe needed to charge the cat. Maybe needed to use shotgun. It's hard. Sun puts out a lot of pressure, and if you get caught casting something at the wrong moment, you're just stuck inside a pancake.
Well played from Rem, and JFeather's returning to the sun. It was a good match then, and we'll see if JFeather can get the better of Rem in this one. Yeah, it's tough. I think Rem very, very well versed in this player matchup, so that's what we're seeing right here. Starting off with diamonds, and both players willing to keep their distance, but both also trying to approach, and JFeather's early aggression is punished by a whole stack of wides, a ton of waffles.
Yeah, that one was a little varied.
Rem now looking for a bit of an opening to find their way in here, as JFeather as well trying to catch with the dispel, but Rem will actually find the hit on the tail end of that combo.
Nice use of diamonds, but Jay manages to interrupt it.
And Rem is just chasing so well with these
so good at
wides.
Holding center. Oh, here comes the Giga Diamond cast that focus. Oh,
nice hit.
Oh no! That's JFeather taking a hit there. Might be curtains, as now Rem has a lot of room to work with, has a lot of resources to work with, and JFeather is being trapped in the corner, forced to burn Dispel.
Ooh.
Yeah, the tap diamonds, right? The tap diamond's so good in that melee situation.
Hourai, you would know this. Are they active any faster than Wyatt would be?
I actually do not know.
Okay. Fair enough.
But I think the tap ones activate a little slower, right? To keep it fair.
Yeah. And so does the same is true for Wyatt. It didn't always used to be that way.
Probably something I should learn, actually. Pointing out the holes in my knowledge.
Alright, 7th place. It's not bad.
With the power of frame data, could go even further maybe, but right now it is Rem, who is constantly chasing JFeather, got punished for it earlier, but is still very confidently doing so.
Yeah, as I said earlier in this matchup, you've got to be proactive and try to go for hits sometimes by surprising the other Sun. Looks like that's what Rem's trying to do.
Rem is just defaulting to center whenever there's a chance to dodge something towards the center, every time. And
Yeah.
that means that, like, the space that JFeather ends up taking, he's just, like, he ends up dodging towards a corner, or he ends up dodging into a breakfast combo while he's in attack lock.
Center is a good place to be in this matchup. But it's also risky to go to the center, so that's kind of why I don't always go for it myself.
Rem seems super comfortable there. Yeah, and then the risk would be, right, that the player who's on the outside gets to choose when to start the melee exchange more often. So you have to just assume you have the reaction.
That is kind of true, but you know, okay, to be honest, I didn't think of that. However, what I was also going to say was that being on the outside just makes it a little easier to dodge incoming Sun things for a brief moment, and then you're doomed to get a hit. So you have to escape from the outside eventually if you get forced there.
Exactly.
Oh.
All right, this is losers finals, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And then we're on to grands.
Rem won their previous meeting, but Game Freak trying to make it a little different this time.
We didn't catch last time on stream. Let's see if it does go the same way, exactly why.
Oh, the Rem Red Hood coming out here.
Ooh, all right. I'm a little surprised to see Red Hood, but I guess I shouldn't be because a lot of Suns seem to have trouble against Lit.
Oh, and these basics from Rem are perfectly angled to catch Game Freak's approaches so far, and they've been doing a lot of work forcing Game Freak away, but undeterred. Look at Game Freak just constantly chasing, knowing that Red Hood is vulnerable at that very close melee range.
Yeah, excellent melee dodges by both players.
Those tap basics are just so active. Besides being like catching people when they spawn, they linger. See people run into them more than get hit by them.
And the wide cone also helps as well, but right now Game Freak backing off, playing this mid game a little more slowly, trying to get the butterfly setup, trying to force Rem into this bottom right corner here and approaching with a butterfly, but Rem escapes to the left side, which is also rapidly shrinking, but a lot more room to move around with on that side.
And the
Whoa, did you
basic
see
almost
that dodge?
closes off. Yeah, the basic match with the butterfly in top left, and it still wasn't enough.
Oh, and Rem was in such a tough spot, but Game Freak's the one who gets hit, which buys Rem so much time. I think that's like a net swing of 2 hearts basically, and Rem will close out the card. Once again, Game Freak having the game plan of trying to chase, but this time pulling back, playing a bit more defensively in the early game before as the walls shrink a little bit more, but going in and caught once again by the active hitbox, like you mentioned, Rachel, of that tap basic.
There's already a butterfly over here, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be despawning soon. It's up next. And there it goes. And suddenly the pressure gets a lot easier for Rem to deal with. As I say that, though, you're getting just slid into a flower. Eventually you're going to have to get out of there.
But Rem looks very, very... I think Rem's stamina in this tournament is definitely something to speak about, because Game Freak does not look as fresh as the beginning of the tournament, but Rem is still playing at that pace.
This matchup, from experience, is one of the most tests of stamina in this game for both players.
Oh,
Having the attention span to like track all of the Red Hood wides and macro every single arrow, it really takes a lot. It's very doable. It just means like tracking the entire screen. Players are no stranger to it, but 4 hours in, Game Freak's finding his footing again.
one card apiece here as Game Freak once again chasing a little bit here, and will chase Rem right into a wide. Very well played with that inner ring.
Putting a butterfly really far back so that
the
Rem
tap
doesn't
wide.
think about crossing over.
Another tap wide.
Yeah, the tap basics from Rem have been incredibly good so far.
Tap basic is what I mean.
It feels like a wide because it catches you when you move.
It does.
It's what wide attacks are supposed to do.
Yeah.
Getting the flower off cooldown. Oh, I'm just...
Again, Rem's timing on those has been so good. Almost perfect, basically catching almost every single one of Game Freak's approaches. We might see it once again here as Game is trying to find their way in. The basic always a threat here, and it will find its mark once again. Rem up 1-0.
looking for that forward butterfly, but it just takes too much of a risk. One of the things Lich can do is wait it out and get to min walls, but Game Freak is not that player. And it is real scary.
Oh, but this round starts a little bit unfortunate for Game Freak here. It is Rem.
This is the moment when you start talking about mental and momentum and can you reset after a game 1 loss for things that work on other players you're just not quite pulling off. And you're down 3. Staying in it, not giving up. And that's super admirable here.
Oh, but unfortunately...
Backs up into it.
Yeah, and bit of a mental reset here for Game Freak. Needs to try and find a better start to this card here. Not getting caught by the Red Hood wide. And playing a lot more cautiously around the basic as Rem tries to mix up the movement, tries to catch Game Freak here, and will successfully do so. Another basic doing a lot of work in the early game. Trying to do so again here in the crossfire with the kunai.
Micro the kunai, yeah.
It's
Flowers despawning.
If nothing else, I do think Rem is wearing Game Freak down a bit. If it wasn't happening already.
Yeah, and a clean second game for Rem here. 2-0 up now.
Game Freak cited fatigue in winner semis, and yeah.
Well, we'll just have to see if Game Freak can bounce back, but Rem right now looking poised to get that match against Kewpie in grand finals here. And Kewpie is also someone who's looked very, very resilient throughout this entire tourney, right? Looked very good at the start, still looking good in winners finals earlier, so I think will be a tough opponent, but gotta get there first, and Game Freak is playing pretty defensively.
Do we root for the rematch to settle the 1-1 score between Game Freak and Kewpie, or do we root for the matchup we haven't seen yet?
Not quite sure.
Did Rem
are
Kewpie in Swiss?
I don't think so. Is Rem only... Wait, who did Rem drop again?
Wait a second, Rem's at 1 HP. Game Freak has found the pressure necessary to create a lead.
And this
here.
is a really good position, but when's the flower despawning?
Rem navigating the defense.
Can you get the
quite well
hit now?
Here. Rem circling incredibly well around the shots of the butterflies, not putting themselves into any hard situations here.
Macroing those lasers just barely. They're so wide. Ooh, the tap flowers saves Game Freak's life.
And the wide snipe, right?
Yeah.
And now
Game Freak's
Game Freak with much more confidence. Oh, but gets caught by the wide on the approach, but still with newfound confidence after that card being taken. A lot more time to work with here.
Gets really far forward, and these macros on the arrows are so close. Part of that spectator, but they look so scary.
And a really, really good push by Game Freak to pressure Rem against the wall there.
Can't get out because of that one little wide pip plugging the hole. Oh, and that's a big flower charge.
Wide ring's gone, but this is a really tough spot for Rem regardless.
Yeah, those 2 butterflies there and about to be a 3rd.
And Game Freak successfully approaches to put down that wide, the inner ring.
Looking to get a hit or 2 here with a really forward tap flower. As soon as the big one despawns, it's going to look a lot less impressive.
I thought Rem got hit by the basic. Rem does get hit by the butterfly bullets, though.
Yeah, Game Freak getting that hit there, maintaining momentum is incredibly important in terms of Game Freak taking it here, and will manage to keep up the pressure, will manage to bring us to a 4th game.
Gets his 2nd win. I gotta say, there are characters that feel stronger at higher latency, and Red Hood is somehow a character that feels a lot stronger when you're at a higher session length for the night.
Yeah, but Game Freak continuing to go forward here, trying to find this comeback, this reverse sweep in this best of 5. It's going to be difficult, but right now, Game Freak's looking confident, no longer getting caught by those early tap basics like he was in that second game.
And that experience is so important. I mean, you've been here before, you've been through however many rounds of double elim, and you gotta perform as if you were still in your first round.
Right? Flower
It's a
dash.
skill like any other. Ooh!
Oh!
That could have been really good for Game Freak, but getting that hit is huge for Rem, especially as the walls are closing in. Another hit from the wide means that Rem is at a commanding lead here. Just needs
Yeah,
two more
really
hits.
unfortunate hit too, because Rem was cornered. Although that flower bonk is gonna give Game Freak a bit of momentum.
Yeah, the momentum swinging right back, but again, the basic is right on target, catching the lateral movement from Game Freak.
Rem taking center there was really high risk, but it worked out.
Has a little bit of room to play with. Rem trying to circle around this butterfly, trying to find the pressure, and the kunai will be able to snipe Game Freak. And Rem is one card away. Oh, the basic pressure, just the pure basic against the wall is enough. 3 hearts now remain for Rem in terms of moving on. Game Freak with the long range dodges, but can't find too much pressure trying to approach, but Rem has so much room to play with right now. Rem navigating the disappearing wide ring, and again, now Rem, a lot of space to work with on the right side, but the walls are shrinking. Game Freak's going to have an opportunity to create a lot of pressure shortly, but is going to have to not get caught by that basic, and will actually find a hit onto Rem. Huge opportunity for Game Freak here.
Oh, these butterflies are just everywhere.
Rem's having to do crazy
That's
dodges just to survive.
What?
Finally gets
Can't
cornered.
micro that.
And Game Freak has equalized. Game Freak in a spot where he could bring the game back. 1 hit remaining on Rem for this card to tie this game up, and it is so incredibly close, but Game Freak has the confidence to go in, dodging around the basic. Just needs to be a little bit careful
Just
here.
in, gets the deep butterfly. No vanish, just switch sides is such a bold decision. And it works!
Game Freak hits a wide, and now with 1 heart remaining, needs to be so careful, especially at this
But
close
Game
range.
Freak's ready, already preparing the other side, knowing that Rem has to switch, and vertical butterfly gets it.
That was the one hit where if Game Freak got hit there, this set was over, but with Game surviving, it means that Rem has another 4 hearts to chew through, and I think Game's a lot more confident now, a lot more ready to deal with a lot of the tools that Rem is throwing out and playing at a range where Rem's not able to really put on that pressure. Game in a really good spot now.
Just going in. Butterflies on that side aren't far back enough to be too vertical, but there's enough of them to be scary.
Really good dodges by Game Freak, not getting caught by the kunai in the basic as well. And now Game Freak in such a commanding lead here.
You get them in walls like this, the butterfly outside the arena is so brutal.
Game Freak showing why they were up there with Kewpie, and this is a bit of a statement card if Game Freak can close this out. Another hit found, 1 hit remaining to send us to a 5th game. And there it is.
Wow.
That's going to be it.
2-2.
Game 5.
You ever see someone just like sit up in their gamer chair in real time?
I think we're witnessing it right now.
Yeah.
Game Freak with the game 5 here. Rem taking a second to think about whether the Red Hood is the answer or something else, but will be staying.
Might be a good call. It was working for Rem earlier this set.
Oh, and a really scary interaction there. Both players emerging unscathed, but Game Freak getting a lot of setup, and that wide bonk. Oh, but an immediate basic! Rem with the confidence to press the button as Game Freak approached. And that will prevent a doomsday scenario. in favor of Game Freak, as Rem now has a decent amount of space to work with, but Game Freak setup is approaching.
Ah.
Oh!
Oh no, the wide!
The stack
Trading
underneath the Lich Wide.
Oh!
It's
not the cleanest card, but right now Game Freak in the lead. Game Freak securing it, and Game Freak has the lead for the first time in this set. Those players.
cool round start. No hits for either player.
Those players taking it slow. Game Freak in particular, not as aggressive as in previous cards here.
Takes same side flower.
Just slowly approaching now, trying not to get caught. Trying not to get caught
Goes
by
in
the
to get
kunai.
the melee wide.
But the basic will be enough from Rem to find the first hit here.
Using the invul for the forward flower and gets away with it.
Game Freak
Butterfly,
now.
I mean.
Really good confident movement to not get caught up by the kunai and the basic there. And now Game Freak with a really good setup, now trying to approach to get the last piece of the puzzle here as Rem does cross over to the other side. The flower disappears, a lot more room for Rem on the top side, but
Besides for the one butterfly up there, that was kind of suboptimal pressure for a second, but now Rem's got to be scared.
the basic's chasing,
Ooh.
but the retreating basic from Rem will make it happen here, and Rem crossing over to the
Rem
other
crosses
side.
over and it's not much better here.
Oh,
Oh.
no!
Runs into
Keep
the
it
almost
feeling
side.
wide.
Game Freak with the pressure
That's some
now.
good space.
Bottom right. Really making it so difficult for Rem to find any way out. 1 heart remaining. Game Freak reverse sweep, just 1 hit away. Chasing Rem all the way across the world, burning the Vanish, and there's nowhere for Rem to go, but Rem finds the hit, has the chance to equalize here. But it's such a dangerous situation for both players as Game Freak moves in.
I was so scared for Rem there.
Game Freak's got to be very aware, and so does Rem, but the butterflies from behind. Game Freak with a reverse sweep brings it all the way back.
Well done,
And we're
Game
getting the
Freak.
rematch against Kewpie to settle it once and for all.
That set was a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we saw some pretty wild dodges from both players, honestly.
The eye drops kicked in. The secret technique.
All right, grand finals now. Kewpie versus Game Freak.
Man, if I had a nickel for every top Maiden Spell player who gambled with health issues in order to compete, I'd have like a few quarters maybe.
That's like a decent amount.
It's a lot actually. I won't name names, but I don't know why this is a pattern.
It is a very intense game though, all things considered.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I almost didn't expect it. Whoops.
Kewpie on the winner's
No
side.
health issues have prevented me from playing yet.
Oh, speaking of health issues, actually, I discovered during those 2 years I was gone that I have this condition that means my joints are very loose.
Oh.
And, yeah. And it's like an actual problem, but you know, all good. Well, grand finals now. Game Freak versus Kewpie. The matchup we've seen so many times before returns once again, and it's going to be a long road ahead for Game Freak, who will have to reset the bracket to win this, but if it's a Game Freak like we saw in the last few games against Rem, it's definitely doable, not out of the realm of possibility.
Can you imagine the narrative if Game Freak starts the first game of bracket talking about fatigue and then and then wins 2 sets in grand finals?
Would be pretty
6
impressive.
games. Yeah.
Would show us the power of eye drops, I guess.
Oh,
Yeah.
But Kewpie is the one running into wides a little bit here, and that means Game Freak is at a pretty significant advantage. A lot of time and hearts to work with here as Kewpie goes for a bit of pressure here, but Game Freak will actually get
nice
caught
move.
on the third attempt. The movement from Kewpie coming into play here, trying to make the comeback, but 1 heart's all it takes as Game Freak's butterfly and basic pressure is coming in, but it's from such long range.
It's kind
that
of far away. Oh, it still works though. Those basics were coming together though. Is about to be scary. Nope. Waiting to charge flower. Good option. Going really forward. Oh, the nothing personnel.
Oh,
yeah, gets it with the wide. Would have gotten it with the. Oh, just run straight into the butterfly.
And
Infall
finds
doesn't
the
last that
melee
long.
basic. Game Freak now with the lead after all those interactions, and Kewpie runs in again, and with 1 heart remaining, Game Freak now looking very, very good to take this first game.
The other side looks pretty comfortable here. Unless you're doing that and you go right back to the side that has the butterfly right there. Okay. Well, Game Freak's setting up over there. Eventually the stuff on Kewpie side will despawn. Playing very territorially. Try and make sure that... Oh! And yeah, the butterflies are just too close. Can't charge the basics, can't get enough pressure.
Game Freak declaring a very long stay. No thoughts on going to a different character, and Kewpie also staying on the storm here. And of course, I think the most notable character trait of Kewpie as a player, as that round start, the greedy round start from Game Freak gets immediately punished by Kewpie. Keyboard Storm, not something that you hear quite often, but
yeah, I don't know how that's possible.
But Kewpie, as one of the greatest players of the current day, is keyboard storming it up and is winning.
The flower mid also just breaks through that wall that's forming.
Even in hearts at the moment, but it is Game Freak on the other side of this wall as Kewpie does not have a lot of space to work with, but will survive.
Macro is, yeah.
Game Freak is creating a lot of these small pockets that are so hard to get out for Kewpie, and Kewpie will get caught again.
When the walls get close enough, you just get wedged in there with the vertical butterflies. It feels like an arc moon at min walls when it's just a single triple shot.
Game Freak going for the early aggression again, trying to close out this second game. But Kewpie's just backing up, charge basicing, trying to find the pressure.
Game Freak holding as close an angle to the basics as possible. Make sure it takes Kewpie that much longer to get the... Ooh.
For whatever reason, Kewpie's big charged basic setups just don't seem to be happening this set.
That happens for a number of reasons. One, Game Freak is really good at making them take longer by staying pretty still or close to a wall so that they angle where they're already going. And two, the more pressure you put on Storm Beast, in this case, you know, a butterfly shooting every half a second, the harder it is for her to find an opportunity to charge a basic. Because she has to charge 6 in a row to make the wall complete. She misses one, drops one even without getting hit, and you can just get out.
And really confident movement there from Game Freak going in for the basic
Just
to close out the game.
Running straight at the Storm Beast and getting the melees. You just can't, at a certain range, Storm Beast can't charge basics anymore. She doesn't even have the half second of breathing room.
Yeah, and Game Freak with the movement to buy a lot of time, the confidence to go in for those basics, and we're seeing a 2-0 lead in the first set of Grand Finals here, poised for a reset, trying to build an advantage in this game as well. Bit of railgun pressure, but Game Freak once again with the patience.
Game Freak makes it back to mid, and there's the flower.
In that corner, there's always a temptation to try
Looking
and
for
run
that
out.
butterfly.
But I think Game Freak's so familiar with the charge basic setups that he's just so patient in finding an opening in them. He will wait until an opening appears because he knows that there will be one that appears if that setup has a hole in it.
And it's very tempting to like get far away from them, but as soon as you get far away from them, sometimes the angle like closes faster. But sometimes if you make the angle really big, then you force an opening to open. Just recognizing when it takes a lot of practice in this matchup, and it's so impressive.
Oh no!
Do we have a technique name for that one?
I don't know, but Kiroko moves backwards into me a lot during their charge basics.
We'll call it the Kiroko
Not in the
moonwalk
corner.
then.
we just call it the moonwalk.
The moonwalk. New technique discovered. Who needs a balance patch? We're unlocking new character abilities.
Yeah.
Oh my...
Oh.
Wow!
All the way out of the corner there, but gets caught trying to thread the
Yeah.
needle between two charge basics.
You know, actually, I'm starting to see something Game Freak's been... well, that's unfortunate. I'm starting to see something Game Freak's been doing a lot that I, unfortunately, have not entirely learned to do against Storm. And that is not only reacting to Storm's basic charges, but also her movement and where she's going to go and charge the next basic. That's something I'm bad at, and it sounds obvious now that I'm saying it, but
Yeah.
I need to do that a little more often.
Well, it's really hard to look at the other character when there's things you need to worry about on your side of the screen.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it helps a lot, and honestly, Stormbeast is one of the characters where she's like the easiest to dodge until she very suddenly isn't.
Yeah. Maiden Spell is all about balancing a bunch of things that you should be doing at once.
And right now, Game Freak with a little bit of a lead might be in a sticky situation.
Oh no!
Here.
I don't think that's a might be. I think that's a hard loss.
Oh,
Oh,
Oh, that's
That-
unfortunate.
yeah,
random
that's a
butterfly
really,
hit.
that's a really unfortunate hit for Kewpie. That kills a lot of the momentum, and it was a hit in open space, right? And that's really extra credit for Game Freak here, where
Can Game Freak get to left side? Oh,
once again another hit where now Game Freak just needs one more hit to reset the bracket.
Kewpie's not making it easy, finding the setup. No flower yet, but just like not going to the corner, waiting to the last second, stalls for that time. Because as soon as that clone looks up instead of down,
Ah, the wide.
yeah. It's not so threatening, but sometimes it gets you.
Now that
Just tap it.
this is incredibly tense, right? This is either bracket reset or Kewpie getting a win in the first set of Grands, and Game Freak's gonna have to find a way out of this one. Does have the flower that time, but
Far away flower, if the pressure's not enough, then that's gonna be...
Wow!
no!
buys just enough time.
Bracket
Teleports in and
reset.
gets punished. Bracket reset 3-0.
I feel like Kewpie had all the control in that moment, but just bonked at the very last chance to a wide, and that changes everything. 3-0 bracket reset in the favor of Game Freak.
Watch Game Freak say that and then pull out depth or something.
Yeah.
It is technically a new set. You could blind pick. And we're just saving our breath for wrong color.
Oh, color switch.
Intentional wrong color to see, it seems like a mental reset of sorts.
I'm pretty sure when you go Super Saiyan, you're supposed to turn yellow, not like cease to be yellow.
That's true. Oh! What a double hit!
Yeah, wow.
Wow, nice dodge by QP.
Yeah, Kewpie's confidence in the corner against butterflies is really something to behold there.
Feels like every time I watch someone fight Game Freak, I'm really impressed with their butterfly bullet dodging.
I mean, you gotta be. The spread is really good.
Game Freak manipulating the trajectories of the charge basics and
Yeah.
Bit of a tough spot, but trying to create some offense here on the other side against Kewpie, as it will be brought down to last heart here.
Right next to this butterfly.
Ah.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Positioning.
Finds the setup. Saving the flower round start ends up being a tap. Stalling next to them, but gets caught by the wide instead. Railgun.
I think that was a railgun and
Desync,
regular
yeah.
there.
That was a really good time to use it too. They ended up coming by about the same time.
Once again, Game Freak trying to approach, but in this set, although Kewpie gets hit there, Kewpie's been generally very good at playing keep away.
Flower away from center. Good at in the moment, but is it good now? This is an interesting setup. Why does this look good?
Yeah, it's like the flowers are kind of acting as wide rings in a way that feels so wrong, but in that situation, Kewpie was caught in so much butterfly crossfire.
Wait. No, hold on. I should be paying attention to the match, but like I've been playing Lich on and off for 4 years, and I'm like, that's kind of good. I can think about that later. Okay.
And the Game Freak will close that one out, and we're brought to the final card of the first game of Grand Finals reset here. Whoever takes this one kind of sets the tone for the rest of it, right? If Game Freak takes it, it feels like more of the same. It feels like more Game Freak domination, but if Kewpie manages to take this card, then that's a big change of pace, both mentally and in terms of the score itself. Oh, what a dodge by Game Freak!
Oh.
Wow.
If we see Game Freak take this one, do we think Kewpie starts to question the character switch and goes back to yellow?
No, I think Kewpie will stick to purple for this set.
I respect the confidence.
On that note, do you think that there will be it would be strategic to switch back and forth between the colors?
Ooh.
Good hold by Kewpie there to not get the charge basic eaten by the flower, but still gets hit regardless, and now Game Freak with a little bit of a lead as the walls are slowly closing in. Finding setup, but Kewpie finding space on the bottom
on the
right.
same side. This isn't the worst. But you're dead zoning that flower.
And really good
The
patience
angle.
from Game Freak.
Yeah, Game Freak just hangs out in the same spot so that the entire wall just snakes off screen without closing anything off.
Oh, and Game Freak tried to find the window there, but the window was a little bit outside the border, unfortunately. But still, it is last heart for Kewpie. And now Game Freak's going to get aggressive and does manage to close it out before the charge basics can get a hit. It is Game Freak going up in Grand Finals reset 1-0.
Both players, of course, staying, and we're getting down to it. Is Game Freak going to take this 6-0?
Not if Kewpie
Good round
is
start
going to
for
save
Kewpie.
Yeah, Kewpie's been getting a lot of hits on round starts.
Forced along the bottom, and the Y just catches ya.
Now Game Freak pushing in, but again, Kewpie catches that aggression incredibly well. Does get
has
caught, but it's a 3-1 lead.
Too much distance to cover there for the flower and the melee. That's a whole card right there.
That's a hit found.
Those early card wides getting a lot of value as Game Freak's trying to run around and get the initial setup going.
Game Freak stabilizing though, getting 2 hits here. It looked very dominant for Kewpie, but now it's even. But Kewpie with the tap basic will catch Game Freak along the bottom wall.
These. Yep. Kewpie's
Nice
just in this
wide
corner
ring.
now.
Oh! The butterfly.
Finding the space over here.
One heart.
Doesn't
each.
last for long.
Kewpie needs to be very careful
Only
along
the
this
one
wall.
butterfly.
Oh, but the basic!
Nice.
It's 1-1.
Alright, and this will not be a 6-0 for Game Freak.
No.
Would be pretty dramatic if the set went into Game 5.
Yes.
Weren't both of their last sets 3-0s?
Yeah, you can't leak the script though.
Yeah.
Oh, good point.
Game Freak just kind of struggling to get it on Kewpie in these games. Kewpie's playing keep away better and better as the series goes on, it feels like.
Being between Storm and her basic, or not her basic, between Storm and her clone there, I think is a really good spot to be, even just temporarily, because you can dodge both basics by just moving up and down.
Oh yeah. That's where I'd like to be, but Kewpie makes it hard.
Yeah, QP and most Storm-Beast players will catch on quick and just either reposition their clone or put out a charge basic so you can't go back.
Ooh.
It just lingers in the spot.
Really good fake out from Game Freak to not get hit there and actually hit Kewpie in return. Kewpie committed to try and read the exit from Game Freak.
That is a dangerous way to dodge in and gets away with it.
Game Freak getting away with a lot of things here as the clone expires. Another hit found. Now it's a last hit situation. Suddenly when Game Freak was on the back foot for most of this card.
Flower into the wide cancel is so much pressure for the next 10 seconds.
And does
Yeah, and that's gonna
manage
be
to
enough.
get it. Okay, Game Freak once again making a bit of a comeback here to close it out, and now Kewpie really wants to find this card here, wants to slow down Game Freak, but
To this
his round
corner,
start.
but no charge basics coming out and next flower's up.
This round start not going nearly as well for Kewpie as the walls are closing in and Game Freak is completely healthy.
Can't quite link together the setup there. Is going to start to put something together here. Game Freak goes
Nice
to the other
little
side,
dodge
but
by
the
Game Freak
clone
there. Oh, but
gets
it's
the
not
melee.
fast enough.
Yeah, it was like 0.7 seconds away from Flower at the moment, and this time we'll get caught once again, and now Kewpie with a pretty significant lead, going in with a melee, getting punished for missing it that time, but still trying to find that charge basic in the melee.
QP just building these basic setups and knowing right at the end of that one that to pull out a clone melee to plug that gap is so impressive.
Yeah, and as that wide ring expires, it is Kewpie with a lot more space to work with on the right side, even as the walls are shrinking, even as there's a butterfly there, it's still a lot more space. Really good dodges around all of the butterflies, but still a hit will be found by Game Freak, now one hit away from going up 2-1. Really committal on the basics there, looking for a shot with the butterfly, and even the flash step won't be enough.
The flash step goes a little bit too short and doesn't actually get across the flower.
Game Freak now truly one game away from taking the tournament here. So incredibly close. Kewpie, I think, considering a swap, but swapping here is very scary. Swapping when down 2 in a best of 5 is not the spot you want to be in, and Kewpie will stay.
Tough decision for sure.
Alright, potential final game upon us here. As,
Saves the flower, doesn't get too much of a charge, and here come the charge basics. Ooh, the nothing personnel!
Nothing personnel!
Kewpie manages to do it again. A statement hit at the start of this game. A critical game for Kewpie to stay alive in the tournament. Game Freak now chasing on the top side, trying to limit the options, but the clone will be perfectly placed to catch Game Freak's movement with the charge basic.
Kewpie not being too aggressive yet, comfortable to stay against the back wall.
To start the setup over. Really struggling with how close these butterflies are, but that's a pretty good spread. Just gotta plug that hole there in time and it doesn't get the hit.
Nice dodge by Kewpie there. Oh, that's gonna be tough. Oh, no, there was space. Kewpie gets caught by a butterfly bullet. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Just grazes into the flower. Game Freak down to 1 though.
Yeah, Game Freak really trying to bring this one back. Trying to figure out a way to catch Kewpie, but Kewpie will exit with the flash stab. A tough spot, a tough dodge, and will get caught by the wide on the exit.
Being over there is so scary with that butterfly in the bottom right.
Oh, but Game Freak
Ooh.
barely didn't have flower, I guess?
Maybe not.
Yeah, that cooldown is tight.
It was definitely very close to being up, but Kewpie will take that card, will create a bit of an advantage here. And Game Freak's getting pushed back by the charge basics, trying to push forward to try and find some pressure, but Kewpie once again playing keep away quite well, but the flash step is not what you want there. Buys a bit of time, but still stuck in that situation.
The butterfly behind outside of the arena again, and this side is so scary.
Game Freak
Suddenly the top half is pretty decent. Not anymore.
Flash step available as an option here, but we'll just try to find the pressure, but Game Freak will be the one to get the hit with the basic. And the flower used, baited out by Kewpie, who does get a little bit of pressure afterwards, but the tap basics will just be dodged away from. The charge basic will be maneuvered away from, and Game Freak will get out of there.
Here comes the setup and finds the gap. Really nice to go for it before the basics are even let go of.
Oh, and the tap basics will catch Game Freak there. 2 hearts to 2, and Kewpie in a decent spot here, trying to find the charge basics, but the butterflies are set up in such a way that makes it a little bit difficult, but still finding the timing.
Micro is so scary.
Yeah, that bottom left butterfly that just despawned was doing a lot of work for Game
Oh!
Freak there.
A railgun hit. I have not seen one of those in so long. But it will be equalized right back. Game Freak with a chance to keep this game alive, but the hold on Kewpie.
Wow,
we're headed to a game 5.
Game 5. We're just
5.
like glossing over so much butterfly micro. That is so impressive because every time you call out like, oh, that was good, it's always good. It's always insane.
Hourai, the script.
I
here.
leaked it, I'm sorry.
It was
Well, they don't know how it ends, so you're still good.
True. I didn't spoil the winner.
Yeah.
All comes down to this here. As this round start is incredibly
snake.
good for Game Freak. Taking a hit, take another hit,
runs in
oh
and-
no!
Punks into the out wide. Oh. Okay. Turn wide not enough there. Kind of a late flower. Can Game Freak get to the bottom of the screen in time? No. And flower's up now, but it's going to be on same side. Kewpie's going to have free reign down here for a little bit. Dead zoning this butterfly top right. Doesn't quite get the setup.
Kewpie now flash steps in place, tries to get the defense, but
Whoa!
That's the micro.
That wall dodge.
oh, and gets caught by
Just
that
doesn't get the
butterfly.
corner.
Now Game Freak just needs one more hit to get an advantage in cards in this final game, but Kewpie just dodging, weaving, trying to find the pressure with a tap basics, trying to find some charges, but the flower will be a little bit brutal here, erasing the bullets, closing off so much space, as the clone will buy some time, and the wides will get a hit. But oh no!
That's too bad. Kewpie could have escaped that one.
Holding on to his last card.
Final card here as Kewpie just charging the basics, trying to do what worked for
Has
them
the
so many
setup.
times.
Flowers coming up.
Oh,
and this,
but Game Freak
finds
is
the
so
gap.
good. Game Freak's so good at reading the charge basics. Goes into them on purpose, knowing that there'll be a gap on the bottom side for better positioning. And now Game Freak's moving confidently in, finds the
That
hit.
would have been the setup.
Kewpie on the
Second
bottom
flower's
side.
good. First one despawns. It's gonna be really scary.
Game Freak confidently moving once again through all of the storm setup.
The butterflies are kind of far back though. Not really making.
Oh!
Aww.
Doesn't flash step far enough. Crosses and is immediately inside of a wide.
Game Freak trying to end this game as soon as possible, going in with the basics, trying to finish it, but will get hit by
melee.
Kewpie. And gets
Ooh,
hit
and
again.
the flower doesn't despawn that.
That's gonna give Kewpie a chance.
Gonna give Kewpie a big opportunity here.
Yeah, there's times where the flower doesn't despawn things in this matchup, whether it's a wow, just follows in with the wide and Game Freak loses the game of chicken.
Nice movement by Kewpie,
Last
unfortunately lands on a wide at the last second.
Now it's a bit tough for Kewpie to move, but these wides from Storm are also a threat across the entire screen.
Comes the setup. No, it's not coming together. Still, the butterflies are far enough away that Kewpie can keep trying these, even with a sliver of space, but only a matter of time until he's like actually pushed into the flower hitbox. He crosses over, but there's more butterflies here. Pick your poison. Oh no!
Game Freak will close
And
it.
that is going to be it. Game Freak comes back from losers to win the tournament.
Just couldn't find the dead zone, and that's it. Congratulations to Game Freak for taking first place at the first, I would say first, if not for the fact that we did like a few way back when. But first Swiss event, a long while, 28 entrants, and coming out on top is no easy feat.
I was incredibly sweating there because there's this Twitch ad schedule thing, and I pressed the snooze button all 3 times that it was available. And the ad finally played as soon as we said congratulations to Game Freak.
That's awesome. Oh my god, could you imagine? I don't want to think about the alternative.
The alternative
there.
would have been a bit of a disaster.
Yeah. Alright. What do you two think about Swiss?
It's good.
Really fun. Doesn't have the like. I think the fact that we ended it in a best top 4 double elimination brought in the drama that would have been missing from pure Swiss, and I liked that.
I like, yeah, Swiss is definitely, from a player perspective, more fun, but a little bit harder to follow as a viewer. And by a little, I mean you get to watch one game per round and then wait for the other ones to finish.
Yeah.
But as long as you
so.
have those like finals, the invitational, you don't need to put everyone through that bracket, right?
Yeah. I think that Swiss is. I couldn't speak for it, but for the lower level players, I think that Swiss would be pretty nice if you just want to get games in, because I don't know, when I started out in MNF and I started going to tournaments, I never expected to win. I just wanted to get some games in a competitive setting, and that's exactly what I got. But I only get like 3 or 4 at best.
Yeah,
Swiss
and
is nice for that purpose.
And even as a player who's, you know, staying in winner's bracket a lot, winner's bracket does a lot of waiting around for loser's bracket because it has twice as many rounds. I think there's a lot of advantages. I think people are going to talk about it. I'm already seeing some cool suggestions. In DMs, I heard from Kiroko that an intermission between rounds 3 and 4 would actually be really cool because the pace is, you know, like pretty breakneck.
Yeah, but it was a lot of good games, I think, and I hope everyone had fun. I definitely had fun watching it. 28 people showed up. That's a lot of people.
I incorrectly attributed that to Kiroko instead of Roxy, but it's all the same. Yeah, I'm excited. I think TOs we're looking at this with curiosity, and people are going to be thinking about Swiss for more events more often. So
Yeah, if people like this, maybe this is how I'll run tournaments, honestly.
yeah, we'll see. And it's, you know, I'm glad we tried it. Even if it hadn't worked, I would have been happy to try it.
Yeah. Pretty timely, too. This was a 3-hour tournament. I think.
Yeah.
Or was it 4 hours?
No, it was 3.
Okay.
So yeah, it was pretty fast. We started at 8:30 and at 11. We are an hour ahead of schedule. We were half an hour ahead of schedule in Swiss, and 5 best of 5 sets only took us another hour and a half. Another 15 minutes each game? 20? 15 something? 18? I don't know.
Well,
Oh, a new face. Default avatar joined.
Is there anything we want to say before the stream ends?
I don't know. Thanks everyone for coming out. 28 entrants is a whole lot, and obviously that only happens if you guys show up, so thanks.
This tournament was great. It had a mathematically perfect number of entrants, which I always like to see. And thank you especially to the people who played against me. I had a lot of fun this tournament. And congratulations again to Game Freak.
Mathematically perfect is right. We were actually 2 more people away from having to open a 3rd lobby.
Well,
I just meant in the sense that 28 is equal to the sum of its proper divisors.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it is, huh?
Sorry, I just like those.
perfect in 2 different aspects of the word, and yeah, good night everybody. I've put the stream up for 7 hours and 20 something minutes now, and it's time to eat breakfast. See ya.
Yeah, you've had a day. Congrats on shoutcasting this well after 7.5 hours of that.
Well, I had 2 people who remember the game a lot better than I do, so I didn't have to talk
You also
much about
do
the
this a
game.
lot. Yeah, you're pretty good at this. I'm sorry the overlays sucked.
No, all good. It was very last minute, and I was also busy with other stuff, so...
I wanted to work on it so much more this week, and I just did not have time.
Well, on that note, good night everyone.
Good night.
Good night.